Hi everyone, something really cool and new tonight for both Supercars fans and for gaming fans. It's the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. At last, we've been waiting a long time to see this one in the flesh, and tonight we are going to be seeing the first of 6 rounds in this brand new exciting championship. The two guys joining me on the desk, the two perfect guys for the job. I've got a Supercars driver, an absolute gaming fan in Richie Stanaway. That's not you, Hysterics.
No,
but a shoutcaster in Hysterics as well. Guys, how cool is this? We've been waiting a long time for it. We had a sneak peek at Bathurst last year, but Richie, tonight we get to go racing for real.
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative to bring supercars into esports, and really looking forward to seeing how it plays out tonight.
Yeah, on that note as well, this is unique. We don't have anything like this in Australia and New Zealand. Sorry to point to you, New Zealand, because you've got to be inclusive. But we don't have anything like this in Australia and New Zealand, and it's great to kind of lead the way, lead the path, and hoping to see some good races here today.
What are some of the stuff that you've called Hysterics? Because a bit of a run through, because this is kind of new for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like you see my car out the parking lot. I'm sure you both walked past it, and I've got to be honest, it's got some age on it. Casting a lot of MOBAs, a lot of shooters, other racing games that I'm not going to name on stream, but not racing in this caliber. So this for me is a big step out, and I'm excited to kind of learn on the job.
Well, we're still figuring everything out on the job right now, because we're still finalising the last 8 drivers, which will be going into the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. But there's been a huge process to get to here. We've also got the Cup Series. We'll explain that later. But how does the E-Series work? Well, check this out. In 2018, esports returns to Supercars with the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. This year builds on the success of the 2017 event held at Mount Panorama, which saw 8 gamers from around Australia compete head-to-head live in the Bathurst pit lane. This year we've searched again and identified 32 of the fastest racers from around Australia and New Zealand on Forza Motorsport 7. These 32 gamers will race off in a knockout-style format until only 8 remain. Those 8 will be our regular starters for 6 championship rounds starting tonight. Each of the 6 rounds features 3 racers, chasing their way around some of the most iconic circuits in the world. We start tonight with a set of hero circuits: Laguna Seca, Spa-Francorchamps and Bathurst. For round 2, it's into Europe, with races at Silverstone, the Hockenheim Ring and Catalunya. Rounds 3 and 4 go across the Americas, with battles to take place on Long Beach, Lime Rock Park, Watkins Glen, Road America, Sonoma and the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A cross-continent penultimate round follows, consisting of the Nürburgring GP circuit, Rio de Janeiro and Yas Marina circuit. Our final round, the Champions Leg, takes place at Suzuka, Monza and to finish where else but Mount Panorama. Each race, our gamers will collect points based on their finishing positions. Just like the real championship, the gamer with the highest number of points at the end of the final race will be our champion. This is going to be huge. So there you have it. That's how it works. Xbox is the platform. Forza Motorsport 7 is the game. And it's got great support from both Harvey Norman, Boost Mobile and LG. So there we go. I think one of the cool things about this, Richie, is we get to see supercars take to some international tracks that we would only dream of seeing them race at.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a lot different to see racing on those international circuits. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, and yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully some good racing. 17
different tracks in total. We visit Bathurst twice.
Yeah.
Lots of different maps for you guys to try and get your head around. I know that some of the tracks that we're visiting tonight, you've even had a crack at, Hysterics.
Yeah, look, it wasn't the best of cracks, but I definitely learned how hard Spa was, and Laguna Seca, to start off with that. For me, that was probably one of the hardest. But, Mount Panorama, the amount of times I went down that, I feel pretty confident. But I'm not the one racing tonight. They're racing for over $20,000, and it's huge here, the prize pool coming through. And the fact that even the top 32 walk away with a little bit of something as well is absolutely massive.
So the qualifiers still going on right now. We'll lock in those last 8 very, very shortly. But just to run you through the format and how it works tonight, we have 3 races in total off the back of qualifying, and this is the points paying scenario. You win a race, you get 20 points, all the way down to 2 points for finishing last. out of the 8. Richie, your thoughts on the point system? Does it reward attacking racing at the front of the field?
Yeah, I think that's a good structure. Rewarding racing at the front, I think, is a good thing. If you obviously have a lesser spread, then it encourages people to just kind of hold on to their position. So I think it's a good idea to have it structured that way. One
thing we haven't seen in supercars racing in a while is reverse grid racing. We've got that tonight with race number 2. So we've got the first race, which we set off qualifying times for on Laguna Seca. Race 2, reverse grid. Have you done much reverse grid stuff? Would you like to see it back in supercars?
Well,
you don't seem very keen.
After how my season's been going, I'd love some reverse grid racing. The only time I've experienced it is in GP2 and GP3. We used to do a reverse grid top 8. So yeah, if you finished 8th in the feature race, then you'd start off pole for the Sunday race, which is good. But at the same time, if you win one of those sprint reverse grid races, it's not quite as rewarding. But I think obviously esports is very different, and I think it's something that could work well.
It'll be really big tonight on that note as well, because we're going accumulative. So we get our first race, we get the reverse grid in the second, and then on the third, we'll get that total. And then if you do well in both races, really it kind of rewards both the back and the front of the pack.
So you've got to move through in that all-important race number 2. Let's check out the tracks that we're going to tonight, or as Hysterics would say, the maps.
Ah, yes.
I love the lingo.
Of course.
Laguna Seca is first up. Really cool venue. If you're unfamiliar with it, we're based in Central California. It's about an hour south of San Jose. Famous for IndyCar racing, sports car racing, MotoGP even. 12 laps around here. A few different places you can get the moves done as well. So remember, there's a qualifying session which goes into it. Famous corners like the corkscrew, looking forward to that one. Let's go to a place where we know Richie's been before, Spa, and that'll be tonight's second race. The hero tracks, Richie, are what we're going for in this opening round tonight. How'd you go at Spa?
Yeah, it's obviously one of the best tracks in the world. It's quite a track I've seen supercars run a lot on iRacing. Obviously it's going to be interesting to see it tonight on Forza. One of the best tracks in the world, a lot of elevation, as you can see there through Eau Rouge, and it's always produces great racing, so can't wait to see it.
Hysterics went okay there.
Yeah, look, I love how we keep bringing back my performances here.
I'm just disappointed I missed it.
I mean, I spent the last 2 weeks just sitting down on Forza Motorsport 7 and just learning these tracks to start off. And I got to say that there's a lot of room for error here. And from my, newly professional opinion here, I think we could see a bit of a messy start of the race.
I like that. La Source always tight. Let's go to the final track tonight. We know it so well. We were there last week. 9 laps around Mount Panorama. Pit stops in all 3 races, by the way, as we check out that pit lane. How do you think that'll play out tonight, Richie, in terms of strategy? Because you can pretty much make that pit stop whenever you want.
Yeah,
Get clean air?
I think, obviously clean air is always important, but obviously I think the race pace of each driver is probably going to be the most critical thing. And, obviously back to the natural home of supercars after those first 2 international circuits. So
is this your favourite on that note? Like, if you could pick any map, as we're using the lingo now, if you could pick any map across the world, would you pick Mount Panorama?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's right up there. It's one of the best tracks in the world, and I think what makes it so great is the race we have there, obviously the Bathurst 1000. So I guess our series and the circuit, they really complement each other well, and that's obviously why it's the home of supercars.
We take it for granted now, but the attention to detail with how well they've got that circuit mapped out is absolutely brilliant, right down to the Mount Panorama sign. So those are the 3 tracks that we're visiting for round 1. Like we mentioned, it's a 6-round championship all up. So in total, 18 races, 17 different venues, 7 of which are tracks based in the USA. So that is it, your 3 tracks tonight. We'll be starting with Laguna Seca, going over to Spa-Francorchamps, and then finishing with 9 laps around Mount Panorama. So that is exactly how it's going to work, but we're still working through those qualifying procedures at the moment. We'll be bringing you a bit more about how that's going to work later. But if you're not quite to the standard of, say, Richie in the Real Deal, or the 8 drivers who will be taking part tonight, we do have something for everyone. Hysterics, we've got the Cup Series, and this is pretty cool.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
This could be your new home.
This will be my new home at this rate, to be quite honest. No, this is a really great experience for drivers who are trying to learn.
Yes, so the Cup Series is for pretty much anyone who wants to hop on and register to be part of this. You need to have Xbox, you need to have Forza Motorsport 7, and it happens tomorrow night is the first one. There'll be 6 in total, so it's the day after you see the E-Series broadcast on Tuesday nights, about 7:30 p.m. local time, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. and it's pretty much a chance to get on there and race people at your same level, but there is cash and different prizes up for grabs as well. So a pretty good entry level, I guess you could say.
Oh, absolutely. Again, for people that are still trying to learn the maps as well, I've gotten the habit of saying it now, still trying to learn these maps and trying to get in good routine, I think this is the way you get into it and kind of get up to the top 8 level that we're going to see tonight.
It's a tough sort of toe-in-the-water game, isn't it, Forza, or even racing games in general, Richie, for people who might just be general gamers. There are different assists and, you know, you can not cheat your way through it, but open up different ways of learning the game, I guess you could say.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure exactly how the assist system works in the Cup Series versus this main one here, but obviously, you know, I think it's great to have that platform there for people that want to get involved in racing games and obviously compete, you know, in a championship like this. So good to have the 2 tiers available there, and you know, just to have the platform there in general, just for people to get involved in esports if they've got an interest in motorsport. I think
even if you want to get involved in racing, like if you want to make the step, the step from esports to racing, I feel like this is probably the way you start.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a long road.
Definitely the cheapest.
Absolutely.
Definitely the cheapest way to start. Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, Richie's got a pretty sweet rig at home. We were talking about this earlier. I'm talking about
yeah.
the gaming rig here, Hysterics.
All right, so this is something I wanted to bring up because I saw this backstage and I thought, you know what? That is a nice looking piece. Is that, what do they call it, like the Infinity PC or something?
Yeah, that's the Infinity case.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it looks good. Got a 240 hertz monitor there as my main.
Okay, wow. All right, now walk me through the rest of the parts because this is my genuine curiosity. I don't know if anyone else is curious, but I am, so that's what matters. Walk me through the rest. What are you running graphics card-wise?
Got the NVIDIA 1080 Ti.
Oh, of course you do.
Haven't got the 2080
The 2080
yet,
just came out. That's okay. That's all right. 1080 Ti.
I'll be getting that soon when there's some games that are obviously optimized for it.
And you're running dual monitor. I mean, like, you're serious. Like, I'm really proud.
Yep.
If I was a father, you were my son, I'd be sitting here going, "You're doing well, son." But I mean, like, even the neon backing, you're doing it all well.
I spent a lot of time there, so it's got to be a good rig.
Yeah, you and me both on my PC, but that's a fantastic setup. I think from one end, what games do you play on it? Like,
well, I've put about 1,500 hours into Counter-Strike in the last year.
Nice. That's a lot.
If you work that out, how many hours per day that is over the last 12 months, pretty sweaty gamer, I would say.
That's all right, that'll be all.
And recently I just started playing Fortnite just because 2 of my closest friends play that a lot, and was starting to get a little bit frustrated with CS. So just got into Fortnite now, which is a new challenge. It's
An addictive
very
one.
difficult. Yeah. And it's obviously just great playing with my friends.
Gotta get you a setup like that.
You're getting a bit of an idea as to how Richie lives his life.
I'm
There's one
just
part
excited.
that, and the other part is living in his race car. And if you haven't had a chance to see Richie in action in the race car, then check this out. This was last week at Mount Panorama. This is him for real, okay? And this was torrential rain, practice for the great race. We're riding on board his Rabble.club FGX Falcon, and we're going to the fun part of the track, which we'll see later tonight, but in dry conditions. Now, you were fairly ragging this, Richie, and taking some interesting lines, I noticed, like up through here in the cutting.
Yeah, obviously, whenever it's raining, you've got to miss the traditional racing line to get off the rubber that lays down on the circuit. When you hit that rubber in the rain, you obviously don't have a lot of grip. So we get some very unconventional lines, and our car had a lot of speed in the rain, at that weekend, so we were kind of hoping that the race would be wet, but unfortunately the weather cleared up for the race.
Things get a bit twitchy here.
Yeah, I think I just dropped the right rear tire onto the white line there, so whenever you hit a white line, you
and here
just lose a lot of grip.
I mean, you recovered well. I mean, that's the main thing.
Yeah, I mean, normally you don't have to, when you hit a white line like that, you just kind of, you don't have to put too much effort into your inputs. You kind of just let the steering wheel go where it wants to go and let the front wheels follow the caster. But yeah, for whatever reason, our dry setups work very well in the rain, and it's something we've been looking into a lot because, if we leave our race car for when it rains and it's a lot faster than the other cars, it's not necessarily a good thing because obviously you want to have the speed in the dry as well, which is, it's obviously more often dry than wet. So bit of an issue that we're looking into, but it's all those other elements and variables that you get in real life racing that fortunately you don't get with gaming. So I guess that's the refreshing thing about esports. You take away all of those variables with setup and different teams and different parts, and you just it comes down to just the driver's inputs. So it's obviously a very refreshing thing that we get here with gaming.
One thing I noticed watching that, and I noticed during the wet racing at Bathurst last year, is how much you use first gear across the top, going down through Skyline and back down through Forest Elbow. You were sort of the first to initiate that move. Did you notice many people trying that since you started doing it?
In the rain, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I noticed a few people started implementing that gear on the next day when it was wet again. And yeah, for me, it's just generated a lot more turn in the car with the higher engine RPM, which gives you more engine braking, and yeah, just had a lot more drive off the corner because in second gear you'd be far too low in the rev range to get off the corner well. So something I actually do in the dry sometimes as well, which is not not great, but sometimes I just get into trouble down there and end up needing first gear.
Backing out.
Yeah, so.
All right, so we're not too far away from locking in the top 8. As a matter of fact, it's happening right now. So let's check out some of the first action and the pictures as they come to us. We are in the second last lap now of the opening qualifier for the top 8. So we are talking now top 16 races. And the funny thing here, guys, we're going to see a lot of similar names to what we saw 12 months ago when we had the opening esports race at Bathurst. So this action's happening live right now, the qualifiers. We're now onto the last lap, which is good news. I'm going to lock in our first 4 for tonight.
And remember, these guys they've been on Bathurst for the past 2 weeks as well. So these guys have been going day in, day out, trying to work this out. And it'll be interesting today, whatever top 8 we get, they'll have to be changing it up. Laguna Seca coming through, they'll spend 17 laps on this throughout qualifying, throughout race number 1. It's a big change from Bathurst.
And there's about a 500-metre difference on the road. These are the little things that you'll notice when we talk about racing online compared to racing for real. Racing for real, you'd be saying, oh, he's about 1 second down the road. But here we can actually talk in terms of distance. So there's about a 500-metre difference. You can see across the top on the ticker between your front 4. Now, they're the guys locked into the show. And that's why we're watching this battle right now. The battle between 4th and 5th is kind of where it's at, because these are the guys who will be going through to tonight's top 8. So last time down Conrod Straight. And there's a fairly big distance between the top 4.
Now, in first as well, we actually do have our front runner, or one of our front runners from last year. We've got our second place coming through. That's Jonathan Burrows there as TDI Zuls. So, again, another heavy favourite that's kind of leading the charge here. And expect him to be in first, expect him to qualify for top 8.
Yeah, well, he actually finished second in the original Harvey Norman Supercars Challenge that took place last year down at Mount Panorama. Last corner coming up. And the funny thing about this is 7 out of the top 10 guys who have qualified out of the 32 that have made it through, they're from that championship last year. Big smoky burnout off the last corner. And I think we have now locked in our first 4. And for some of these guys, like Andrew Dyson on screen right there, that'll be a moment of relief.
Absolutely. Getting that top 8 again is going to be huge, especially in these races. Again, locking in top 8, you secure yourselves for that, essentially a league play. You get 4 weeks running forward, essentially moving forward to the most important part, which is running all the circuits.
Richie, you'd be pretty disappointed if you cut, the better part of 1,000 laps trying to qualify to get in the top 32 and then didn't make it through to the top 8 tonight. Oh,
absolutely. It'd be devastating. These guys put so many hours into, refining their inputs to do the lap times they're doing. And obviously if you'd qualified and then unfortunately just miss out on that last cut, you'd be pretty devastated.
So I think TDI Zuls, like you mentioned, was our race winner, John O'Burrows. And I think Semper might have been the first guy to miss out, judging by that. So for Andrew Dyson, who finished 3rd last year in the Boost Mobile Challenge, he might be out of luck. Missed it by just that much. So the qualifying race is taking about 12, 13 minutes. I believe the second qualifying race is happening right now as well, and they're about 1 or 2 laps behind. So we've got our first 4 locked in.
It's the important part.
Yeah.
It's the important
part. How hard is it going to be to change, like Hysterics was mentioning earlier, to change your mindset from going Bathurst, where you've probably done 1,000 laps in the last 2 weeks, to Laguna Seca now?
Did they know which circuits they were going to be running on?
They've been given plenty of prior warning.
All right.
Well, I feel like you prep for Bathurst though first. Like if that's the most important one, just to get in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, it depends on how much time each driver's allocated to working on each track. Obviously you'll see that probably in the lap times, who's put in the most hours on each track or map, however you want to call it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess most of them probably would have spread their hours across at least the first 3 maps. We'll just have to see how they go, I guess.
A reminder, if you're just joining us tonight, thanks for tuning in. We are live right now with the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. It's sort of a bit of a first time that we've done the full series. We had a bit of a toe in the water exercise last year with the Harvey Norman Supercars Challenge, which happened with Xbox and Forza at Mount Panorama. But tonight we're checking out the first of 6 rounds in this brand new championship. There's up to $20,000 cash in prizes. We are currently in the process of locking in the top 8 drivers, which will be going through to all 6 rounds. And a reminder, if you've just joined us, the tracks tonight are Laguna Seca, Spa, and of course Bathurst, because how could you have the first round of the championship for Supercars and not at least visit Bathurst? So those are the first 4 names that we've locked in. We'll try and update you as to exactly who they are in a moment. Now, do we have, I wonder, access to the second qualifying race, and how far along down on race number 2 are we at the moment?
You'd hope so, because we've got a favourite in that race, or at least I think we do, because I didn't see Jacob Harvey through there. I didn't see his IGN in that race. So you're hoping for one of the favourites, of course, winning out last year in that said toe in the water. This year, he is definitely a firm favourite. He sits on that top list, second in the qualifying lap to get in. Where is he? I've got to find out.
So I can tell you at least the first 4 that we have locked in. We've got Matty Gator, we've got Andrew Dyson, we've got Matty Bink, and Zach Donaldson. So that's unconfirmed at the moment. I'll try and get exact clarification onto those names at the moment, but those are the first 4 names who have come through. So looking at that, we've already got 1, 2, 3 out of the 4 guys there qualified through for last year. So that gives you a bit of an idea what we're in for.
Who's our newest? Because we lost our 3rd seed from last year.
So here we go. There is confirmation right now up on screen.
All right.
12 minutes, 49 seconds, and it was Sempo who managed to get the job done on top of the list with Mad Racer 38. And TDI Souls, like you mentioned, and Superman. So we've locked in the first 4. Zach Donaldson, that's a new name for us, qualified at a country Victoria with a 2:06 lap time.
Well, that's not bad.
So, and that was good enough to leave him 11th in our qualifying list. So you're starting to get an idea. If you were quick earlier on in the qualifiers and you'd make your way through to this point, just 21 years of age from country Victoria, locked into the top 8 tonight. So congratulations to Zach. We'll try and bring you the next 4 names when they get through to us. Looking at that and their best lap times, Richie, can you read too much into that? You'd have to say THR Flex 5th, and also Melford. They had the speed.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Obviously, we missed the start of the race, but I'm quite surprised at the spread actually in the lap time. Yeah, I assume that'd be a lot tighter than that, but yeah, I guess once we get further into the series, I'm sure the lap times will tighten up a lot.
All right, so we're not too far away from locking in the top 8. We'll bring you the next 4 names as soon as we have them confirmed. We'll have a quick break here in the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. Back with more in a minute.
Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
It's the Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And a race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network.
Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, and we are almost ready to go qualifying at Laguna Seca for round number 1 tonight. If you've just joined us, Laguna Seca, Spa and Bathurst. We've got Richie Stanaway, Supercars driver, and Hysterics Gaming shoutcaster joining us here tonight live in the studio. This is really cool. We have now confirmed the 8 drivers who have made it through to tonight's racing. Hysterics, do you want me to run you through the
Yeah,
list?
run me through, because we've already had an upset with Zachariah Donaldson kind of coming through without being in that top 8. So let's continue forward.
I'll start off the back of the list and I'll work my way up from 11th in qualifying. Zach Donaldson, Superman, has made his way through, qualified with a 206.3, and he's in the show tonight. Matty Bink, who was one of the originals from 12 months ago, Mad Racer 38, second place tonight, 206.3 was his qualifying time. Moving it up to Andrew Dyson, or Semper as he's known as well, from Northwest Melbourne. He laid down a 206.0 in qualifying. He's found his way through. We've also got Mark Pretty. That's another new name. Was 6th quickest in qualifying. It was actually the quickest out of the drivers who had never been part of the E-Series with us before.
Okay.
So watch out for XE Mr. Bucket. That's a new name for us in more ways than one. TDI Sills, we mentioned him earlier. Jono Burrows, second in the original challenge. He's qualified in tonight's racing. He was into the 205s in qualifying, so very, very quick. We've also got Matty Collings from Adelaide. He finished 8th in the original series. He's locked himself into the show tonight. He was 3rd quickest in qualifying. And the two guys who we definitely expected to see in the show are the top 2 on our qualifying list. Ha05, who won the very original qualifying contest 12 months ago, and also Ultimate Age 05, aka Adrian Yalpi. He's from the eastern suburbs here in Sydney, and he was 5th in the competition last year, but qualifies well. Doesn't race as well as he qualifies, but the easiest way that I can say it. He was the quickest in qualifying, Richie, did it with a 205.0, and when you consider it was only 0.03 of a second between first and second, and they're very good mates, those two, I think it's going to be pretty competitive between those two.
Yeah, obviously those two would have to be the favourites, and looking at that qualifying time, they're obviously super close, so I'm looking forward to seeing how those two race each other.
All right, should we turn our attention now to Laguna Seca, because it is the first venue that we're going to be visiting tonight, qualifying not too far away. But let's have a bit of a look at this venue, and maybe we'll get Richie to have a bit of a chat through it. We've got ourselves a bit of a demo lap riding on board. First thing that grabs you, the graphics are amazing. Check that box. Coming out of the last corner and onto the front straight.
Ooh,
nearly threw it
Yeah.
off the road.
Getting a good exit at least.
All right, let's go. Onto this front straight, grabbing gears across the grid. It's an awkward first corner, this one. It's up over the rise and down into the Andretti hairpin.
Catches you by surprise a little bit.
A chance to get some moves made under here, down under brakes.
Yeah, good passing opportunity here. Quite a tight little double apex corner here. Definitely a good place to overtake.
Patience on the throttle.
Yep.
And that'll be something that we talk about as well. Assists, what's allowed, what's not allowed. You know, traction control and ABS would be a massive advantage. And the funny thing is that
allowed?
Well, we're still expecting a lot of these people to be playing on hand controls as well. So you may need some of those assists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming into the double left-handers.
Kind of across that bridge when we get to it, I feel.
This is turn 5, and then you start the climb. This is actually one of the tracks that you haven't had a chance to race in, but you have competed in the States before.
Yeah, I've never raced here in real life, but done a lot of sim racing here before, and it's quite a famous track, so you know everyone knows it. One
Especially
of the most, yeah, down into the corkscrew here. Pretty famous little sequence of corners.
Jeez, had the rears locked up
yeah.
then. Really spat my water out. Down through the corkscrew.
I hope this is an AI lap. Yeah, I hope it's not a real person putting it together, but
I can confirm that this is definitely a real person who did this lap for us. We won't reveal his identity.
This is bad, you should watch me.
He's the exact opposite of the Stig, let's put it that way. Last corner once again. Pit entrance, I should say, on the left-hand side. A reminder, every race in the Supercars E-Series has a mandatory pit stop. Back into the front straight. Bit of a run to the checkered flag too, so there is a chance that you could potentially get some spots made. Now, qualifying is going to be quite an interesting process as well, because it's not a typical qualifying session to what you normally run in the Supercars. We get out there and you pretty much lay down the one lap. It's going to be a small race, but all the cars are set to ghost mode. So totally different way to go qualifying. How do you think you'd approach that? Takes the pressure off, I guess. At least there's no traffic to worry about.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool. You know, it's you know, more like a time trial kind of thing. And obviously, yeah, seeing how much ground everyone can cover over a short amount of time as opposed to just one lap. I think it's quite a good system.
I'm glad we're doing this first, because then they're going to do it, I assume, without Ghost Mode on for the first round, and that'll be 12 laps. So after playing with Ghost Mode on for 5 laps, you then hop onto the exact same track. It's probably going to be a little bit dicey in the first or second lap, so I think it spices up a little bit.
The key to getting good qualifying laps in, Richie?
Obviously, yeah, the guys are going to have to be pretty focused, clear head. It's I guess, quite hard when it comes to sim racing when you've, I guess, done it 100 or 1,000 times before, and then it's all about just trying to repeat it. Obviously, it's a lot different in real life when we're kind of just trying to learn on the fly and get up to speed in a very short space of time. But all these guys will be pretty much at their capacity, and they're obviously just looking to repeat that. So it can be quite an unnerving situation to be in, especially under the pressure of now, being in the online race. Just doing it in your bedroom without anyone watching is not too hard, but obviously then when you put in the situation, you have to do it right there and then with people watching. It's some people just go about it like it's nothing, and they'll be able to perform just as good as I've probably been practicing all last week, but others might struggle a little bit more. So it's just all about being resistant to the pressure and just kind of executing on what they know they can do.
I suppose the worst you can qualify is 8th at least. Do you think track position is going to play a huge difference? I mean, you've got that ability to throw in extra pit stops as well. So
it's going to be an interesting one. I'm not quite sure how what the hit reg is like when they bump into each other, and how the overtaking is going to work. Whether there's going to be a penalty system or whatnot.
It's interesting you bring that up. They have talked about this, and I guess the easiest way that we can explain it is that the general rules of motorsport, I know that's an almost all-encompassing term that we've never used before, but the general rules of motorsport are in play. So any intentional biff, super aggressive dive bombs, things like that will be penalised.
Right.
We do have admin that overlook all the races as they happen. It is pretty much at the admin's discretion as to what those penalties will be.
Right.
So
is there car damage?
Damage is essentially simulation mode only. So that's not real, if that makes sense. Visual only.
Right.
Yeah, so you can kind of get away with bouncing off a few things.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it? This is sort of what you talk about when it becomes esports now, is what are the settings?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it changes everything in how you'd approach the race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the more it is towards the realism mode, the more important qualifying will be, because they'll have to be careful with passing each other and whatnot. But if it's not quite as realistic, then I guess qualifying won't be as important, and it's going to be more about each driver's race pace, because if the overtaking isn't too difficult and you can sort of bump into each other without getting damage or whatnot, then obviously it's just going to be down to who's going to be fastest in the race.
You're not going to have assistant brakes on either. On that note, even if you wanted to put on something to help you, assistant brakes are going to slow you around the corner, automatically apply them for you. All the good races, like we'll talk about Jacob Harvey again, that's a person I'll probably talk about all day, all night. They're probably going to take it off anyway.
Yeah, I imagine if you've got to this level and you've qualified in the top 8 of a Forza Motorsport 7,
probably don't need it.
Probably don't need too many of the assists. But having said that, I think traction control and ABS would still be a huge advantage if you can run it. Make sense? Would you pick it if you had the ability to run it? Would you rather have it off? Are you quicker with it off when you go gaming?
It depends how intrusive the TC is. It can often be slower if you don't have the ability to adjust it.
Yeah.
It can sometimes be too intrusive, and then you'll be a lot faster just using the feel of your right foot, obviously. But if it's it's one of those things with software, you just need to kind of feel it out. They would have tested it to see if it's faster or slower, and they'll just choose which option's the best.
All right, so we've got our top 8 locked in. I'll quickly run you through those names once again. We've got Zach Donaldson. His gamer tag is Superman162. Matty Bink, Mad Racer 38. We've seen him before. He finished 6th in the opening championship last year. Andrew Dyson, Semper, qualified with a 206. Finished 3rd in the opening championship. He's here tonight, locked in. XE Mr. Bucket, a.k.a. Mark Pretty. A new name for us, and looking forward to seeing how he goes. Very quick in qualifying. If you lay down a 205, you're clearly pretty quick when it comes to Forza. John O'Burrows, TDI Zulls, he's qualified into the show. Matty Gator, one of the biggest names to miss out. He was in the original championship that happened at Bathurst, qualified 4th tonight, missed the cut. So that's definitely one of the big names to miss out right there.
No, there's a couple of upsets like we were talking about before. We've got 2 new entrants, one from... sorry, not Northwest Melbourne, looking down. Country Victoria, I mean, I like that. I haven't been to Country Victoria, so that just excites me. Adelaide, where, a lot of the time people sipping wine, but apparently...
Also gaming.
Also gaming, yeah, with XE Mr. Bucket.
And Jacob Harvey and Adrian Yalpi, our 2 top qualifiers, have also qualified through, and expect those two to be running at the front. They were also at the Melbourne Esports Open when this championship was launched. They were part of what was then a Pro-Am situation, and they were both very, very quick there. We'll go to another quick ad break, but don't go anywhere. Not too far away. We're queuing up the lobby. Qualifying at Laguna Seca is coming up.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties, and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And a race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, wherever you're watching around the world, whether it be on Twitch, on Facebook, whichever live stream you're on, let us know what you're thinking right now. We're not too far away from getting into the action. The opening lobby for qualifying at Laguna Seca is being queued in. We now know the 8 drivers who have made their way through, and we are not too far away from getting into the action. A reminder from where the series heads from here, we have a 6-round championship. From here we go off to the European leg, so we've got a few different tracks here, Richie, that you may have been to. Silverstone, Hockenheim and Catalunya. You raced at all 3 of those?
Yeah, I have. Yep. It's going to be interesting to see supercars racing on those tracks. It's obviously a lot different to what we're used to seeing, obviously mostly racing locally here in Australia. So, yeah, I think it's going to be cool.
Which tracks internationally do you think supercars really suit? Which ones would you like to see supercars really tackle? Because a lot of the F1 circuits might not work.
Yeah, I think obviously for gaming it's not as crucial, but
Yep.
obviously the real life cars aren't quite as suited to the F1 style circuits as much. You definitely notice that when we race at Albert Park. It's just yeah, I guess our cars are just suited more to smaller, tighter circuits. You know, obviously racing at the Gold Coast this weekend, very tight, twisty, bumpy street circuit, and our cars seem to suit those types of tracks really well. Even Bathurst, it's quite tight and twisty, you know, even though it looks kind of fast and flowing, it's actually, you know, quite tight and twisty, and our cars seem to really suit those kinds of tracks.
So we've got 17 maps for you to learn Hysterics. You think you're going to get through all those?
Yeah, no, eventually. I mean, it's going to take... that's why we got a couple of weeks, not for my benefit, but it will work. I'm pretty confident by the time we get back around to Mount Panorama, by the championship, the finals, I'll have them all down packed. And it doesn't matter what, you know, on that question as well. I'd race a supercar on any of those maps and still get the same results. So,
so from the European leg, it heads over to the Americas. We've got rounds 3 and 4 are both happening on American tracks, and some pretty cool names there as well. Long Beach, so we actually have a street circuit in there, which I think is pretty important being supercars. We've got Lime Rock Park, which will be totally different, and that's a bit out of left field, actually. Watkins Glen. Often when you hear supercars talked about internationally and going to America, we've raced at Circuit of the Americas for real, but Watkins Glen's always one that gets thrown up there. Road America, famous. Sonoma as well over in California, and then the Grand Prix circuit at Indy. So a range of tracks in America, a lot that we're used to seeing IndyCar at, and some sports car action there as well. Which of the American tracks did you get a chance to run at? GT? Was it all GT stuff, sports car stuff?
I've only done Daytona, Austin, Texas, and Sebring.
Okay. So none of those 6, so that's good.
No, yeah. Exactly. But I guess the good thing is we don't have to deal with any of the real life logistics of you know, going to those circuits. It's just nice to be able to click a button and be anywhere in the world. Yeah, so it'll be good.
So from the Americas, we have an intercontinental leg, which is Nürburgring, the GP circuit, not the full circuit. That'd be a bit crazy. We've got an inbuilt game for Xbox, which is the Rio de Janeiro street circuit. We've got the Yas Marina, which would be sort of interesting. We get a bit of night racing in there. And then the series will wrap up with the championship leg, which is 3 races. Suzuka, Monza, which I think actually really would suit supercars with the big braking zones that we've got there. And then the series wraps up at Bathurst. Again, it's a points-paying championship, 20 points for a race win, all the way down to 2 points if you finish in 8th. The key to putting all 18 races together. Richie? How do you go about allotting the points?
Yeah, well, I guess, you know, for the drivers, obviously, between rounds, they'll be putting in a lot of hours on, you know, the 3 circuits that they'll be racing in at the next round. I haven't, obviously looked too closely at the point system, but, yeah, it's just going to come down to, I think, who puts in the most hours, because out of the hours, you get your race pace and your qualifying pace. So it just, you know, that's the thing with gaming. It's just so much about who wants to put in the most time and, you know, just concentrate on the most on putting laps in and, you know, refining all their inputs. And, yeah, I mean, I guess whoever wins this championship's probably just going to have put in the most hours and work the hardest, which is cool.
Right? Like, so for people like, and I'm going to sound like a broken record by the end, people like Jacob Harvey, who else? We got Adrian Yalpi, like these 2 players, they've got that consistency, they've put in the hours. That's why they were around last year. That's why we have them, you know, 1st and 5th. And other members like Matthew Gator, yes, I know was an upset, but Jonathan Burrows, the consistency's there. These guys put in the time and effort. They've been around all these maps so many times that they know it in and out, and I think that's why we keep our eyes on them, because yes, there are 2 new people, but they're rising stars, where these are the stars who know it, love it, and enjoy it.
Yeah, it should be no surprise that 6 out of the 8 who have qualified have already been there in that one and only esports tournament that we've done, so clearly they know how it works. We are now officially locked into the lobby. We've got all 8 in there.
Yeah.
It took a while to get all 8 racehorses locked into the gate, but thankfully I can say that we've achieved that. We're waiting on 1 straggler, so qualifying is imminent. All right, it looks like we're good to go with the very first Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, and qualifying from Laguna Seca is on. Now, like we mentioned earlier, it's a race, but it's all about time trialing at the beginning, so that's why Ghost Mode switched on. This will set the grid for the opening race tonight, which, again, is at Laguna Seca, and each race will be about 20 minutes long.
This will also set the tone for when we go into the 12 laps, when we go once again onto Laguna Seca. We'll see these guys, but this time Ghost Mode will be off. So all about that grid, as you said, but especially in this first race of the day, the first official race of the day to launch the E-Series.
So if you've picked a favourite yet on Facebook or on Twitch, let us know who you're cheering for today. We've locked in our 8, and now they're qualifying. Now, you're not going to be hampered so much by being around traffic here, obviously, because Ghost Mode's on.
Can they see each other?
That's exactly what I was just wondering.
To them, are they just on the track by themselves?
It would be a massive distraction.
Yeah.
I feel like they can, though.
I'd have thought they'd just sort of be by themselves, but...
Try and give yourself a bit of room.
You know, it's like when you played Mario Kart back as a kid, you know, you had Ghost Mode on. And you could always see the ghost. It was always that thing in the back of your mind.
Do you get a mushroom if you're coming last?
No, it's not. It's not that forgiving.
See, I like it. We lasted about 45 minutes of esports broadcasting before mentioning Mario Kart, so I think that's going to be some kind of record.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We mentioned Counter-Strike before we mentioned Mario Kart.
So qualifying taking place right now. We should get the first laps through, but remember, it was from a standing start, the opening lap, so the opening laps aren't going to be the ones we want to watch. It's this lap that will count. And a chance now to see, in real time, who's going to be quick. Ultimate Age 05, probably a bit late under the brakes, but he was our #1 qualifying man and definitely has to be favourite for pole here tonight.
Yeah, Ultimate Age leading the charge right now. The person who came in 5th last time, that's Adrian Yalpi. Jacob Harvey coming in that 4th position, trying to climb his way up too. But I think good qualifying lap just showcases Adrian Yalpi. He's in it to win it, especially off the bat. Getting those 20 points, grid position is going to be important here as well. Remember, reverse grid coming into that 2nd race. And then eventually we'll equalise on the 3rd and see who can start off their day right.
So qualifying specialist. I guess it's kind of easy to tell who's going to get pole if they're about 3 seconds up the road. It's definitely one way of doing qualifying. Loving the in-game liveries as well. It's something we'll talk a bit more about across the course of the year. We've got one man to thank for that as well. We'll let you know who that is a bit later. So front 6 sort of eking out a little bit of an advantage. Lap times across the top. Obviously, that's the important number that you want to worry about. But it's this time by where we'll get a general idea who the quickest is.
TD Azul's fallen behind a little bit there as well. After what we saw before, he was leading the charge. Superman actually just climbing up, and that's going to be Jacob Harvey falling behind in position. Bucket falling off the slip there a bit.
But the good news is you could stuff up 4 laps and only get 1 right. That's all that really matters here in qualifying.
Yeah.
Do they have tyre wear?
I believe tyre wear and fuel is off.
Okay.
Yep.
everyone's still quite close.
Tyre would have been really interesting across the course of, a 20-minute race around a place like Bathurst.
Ultimate Age still leading the charge here. So remember, this is going to be important because the first race, grid position's everything here. Even though you got people like Harvey who, managed to challenge, grid position's going to be everything. Kind of sets the tone as well.
We're unsure, aren't we, as to exactly how important that's going to be when we get into it, because you do have the ability to use the pit stops.
Yeah.
And if you do qualify a bit further down the pack and you're held up in traffic, typically, at least in real life, you'd probably roll that strategy card, Richie, to try and come in early.
Yeah, I guess, it's a good thing to have up your sleeve if you, you're getting distracted by the car in front, you can't overtake, just dive into the lane and come out in clean air and try to punch out some quicker laps and, get the position back that way. But without tyre wear or thermal effects on the tyre model, it's obviously taking out the tyre wear advantage you get from coming in early and, obviously paying the price of that later in the race. But
so there's sort of no drawback to doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, if you're getting held up, just come in and take it, because you obviously don't have to worry about that penalty you'd normally have later in the race from, having driven too long on a stint on a set of tyres.
So do you think that you save that for just that one moment when you kind of gridlocked and you wait for that moment in the race?
Yeah, I'd say obviously, it depends a lot on I guess each driver's pace at the time. If they feel like they'd be able to punch out a quicker lap by not having that car in front, then obviously it's a great idea to take that stop. But ultimately, if the pace isn't quick enough, then it kind of won't matter when they take that stop, because without the pace, they sort of won't be able to race forward, or they'll, I guess, best case scenario, be able to maintain their position. So yeah, I guess the stop is important, but obviously that race pace is key, and whoever can do the fastest lap of each lap is obviously going to have the biggest advantage.
Yeah.
Well, it looks pretty tight between the top 5 at the moment, at least. Running around Laguna Seca, a couple laps left in qualifying. This will set the grid for the first of the 3 races tonight, which is at Laguna Seca. From here, we then go to Spa. That'll be reverse grid from the finishing order of the first race. The final race tonight will be at Bathurst. Each race 20 minutes, each race containing pit stops. And the grid for race 3 is a combination of the points from races 1 and 2. Fairly simple. Every race you gather points. Champion will be whoever has the most points at the end of the 18 races across the 6 rounds.
But if you don't get to a good start off this week, you've got plenty of weeks to catch up, but especially here, you start with Bathurst. This is where you want to make the impact. You get starting with Laguna Seca, you finish with Bathurst, which is where you want to make the impact. And here, Ultimate Age, he's still leading the charge. He's been holding first as we're coming up on lap 5.
So a few guys have got down to the 129.8s. Everyone else around the 130s. TDI Stalls are 131. Last chance to get a lap in. And as per usual, it's Adrian Yalpi, who seems to be our qualifying expert. There were 4,500 players who had a crack at laying down a lap at Bathurst, combining 65,000 laps in total. And he was the quickest with a 2:05.0.
Wow.
So
cool.
This is why we rave about that guy in qualifying trim. He just needs to be able to keep it together in race trim. Because as it would stand, at least, historically speaking, his good buddy Jacob Harvey, Haro 5, seems to be the better racer between the two.
He wasn't that far behind, to be honest. What was it, 30 milliseconds?
So, yeah, what, 0.03, there you go. 2:05.04 to a 2:05.07.
Wow.
In Bathurst trim, that's not a lot in it at all.
It's nothing.
Now, I think Semper might have just overcooked it slightly going through the rainy curve, so it might not be his best lap. Last chance, last corner. And this will set the grid for the first race tonight, also at Laguna Seca. It's also given us something of a form guide as well. Clearly, Adrian Yalpi's got this place sorted, crosses the finish line, and that puts an end to qualifying. 129.7, but a 129.4 for Semper. So despite that little mistake, running wide at the rainy curve, I think that might be enough to lock in pole for Semper. So that should be Andrew Dyson, who's gone quick enough. We didn't see the second half of that field get home for their last lap, but a 129.4 was the quickest that I saw pop up.
It's not bad.
Not a bad lap, Richie.
Yeah, I thought it was the track position that gave them the qualifying position. Is that right? Or is it their
just the
fastest
lap time?
Right,
Yeah,
gotcha,
so it's still a time trial.
I see, yep.
Yeah, so it kind of works like a qualifying session, but you're all on track together,
Yep,
sort of
yep,
racing
yep.
each other.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bit different.
Yeah.
Bit different. Imagine trying to do that in real life. But that'll set the grid for the first of the races tonight. We'll bring you those qualifying results as soon as we have them up. But that should set the grid for the first of the 3 races. Again, there's going to be pit stops, there's going to be strategy. But from what I could see, as we check out those results right now, and bang, there you go. The top-rated guy qualifying 5th. So Ultimate Age 05 is your quickest tonight. Well, I see a 129.4 there. So surely that'll put Semper on the pole. Either way, it's going to be in the front row, Richie. So I think you can see where the confusion lies here at the moment. But 129.4, the quickest time. So Andrew Dyson will be on the front row. Ultimate Age 05, 129.7. Looking a bit further down the order, Haro 5 might have just got himself onto the 3rd row. How close is that between XC Mr. Bucket, 129.8, 129.9, 129.8, and then Mad Racer also 129.8. Everyone got down to the 30s. It's going to be pretty close. There's 1.2 seconds, 1.5 seconds covering the field.
You can see why they're our top 8 though. Like there's hardly a second that splits everyone. When you have 4,500, when you split it down to 32, when you split it down to 8, this is what you get.
So very, very tight between the top 8 in qualifying. And at least from what we can see at the moment, it's going to be between Semper and Ultimate Age. They've given us the 2 quickest times. But again, it's only qualifying. I'm looking forward to seeing how far Jacob Harvey, Haro 5, can go, particularly if he's going to be off the 2nd row, because what we've seen from him in the past is that he is very quick in race trim. 2nd quickest out of the qualifiers, and should be potentially off the 2nd row tonight. So we'll get these guys back into the lobby, and we'll try and queue up this race and go racing for the first time tonight. How much aggression do you think we'll see, Richie, from those guys at the back of the field, given that clearly a guy like Ultimate Age 05's got a bit more car speed than them?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. To see how aggressive people are, whether they are quite conservative, or they go for the big dive bomb on the first lap, or at any point during the race. So it's going to be interesting to see. But hopefully everyone's kind of just knows where their pace is at and sort of gives each other racing room and whatnot.
How do you approach it if you were just 1.5 seconds off the quickest guy and you go, okay, well, I'm coming into a race now, which is, 12 laps?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I guess there's not too much point in sort of, if you're far off the pace in getting the track position, because they'll probably just pass you back, But if they feel like they're sort of out of position, or they just kept making mistakes in qualifying and they're far away from their potential, then obviously they'll be keen to make up spots and try and move forward.
We did see a couple guys running wide in corners, but not so much completely throwing it off the road. That'll be the big difference, I think, when we get into the race. If anyone makes a small mistake like that, you're going to get shuffled back, looking how close it is anyway.
Yeah, they're not quite as refined as I guess I thought they would be.
Just a little bit hard.
No, yeah, it's harsh, but
yeah. Right.
But I don't know. I don't know if they're what sort of peripherals they're using, but yeah, a lot of mistakes and stuff going on. But once we everyone's trying to get the most out of one lap, so maybe once we get into the race, they'll be a bit more consistent.
Maybe it just comes back to they've been doing Bathurst, for, like I said at the start, they've been doing Bathurst for 2 weeks straight. That's all you'd worry about, because that's your qualifier.
That was sort of a practice session,
yeah.
if anything.
Like Laguna Seca, I guarantee you, they probably haven't touched that for a couple of weeks. They're feeling a bit rusty on it. These 12 laps with Ghost Mode off are kind of going to dictate, all right, are these guys in form? It's week 1. They've got the whole competition to, feel each other out. And I think here, when you have 8 players, it's going to shift a lot in the standing. So week 1's going to give us a taste, but it's not the full soup. Food. It's not the full chicken.
Not what we're going to expect.
Obviously hungry,
when we get through to the race. That first race is not far away. We can't wait to go racing for real here. It is the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, and that first race from Laguna Seca is coming up next.
Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And the race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Racing tonight on the Supercars E-Series. It's all thanks to Boost Mobile and also great partnerships with Harvey Norman and LG. We've been waiting a long time for this one. It's Xbox, it's Forza Motorsport 7. We've got our top 8 locked in, ready to go tonight. 3 races coming your way. We've completed qualifying for Laguna Seca, and the field is now set. Joining me tonight in the studio, we've got Richie Stanaway, who is a Supercars driver and absolute gaming fanatic, and a shoutcaster in
That's
Hysterics
a rough
as well.
act to follow. That's a really rough act to follow.
Supercars driver and Hysterics.
And Hysterics.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but
guys.
it's good to have you too, Hysterics.
It's a pleasure
Thanks
to
for
be
being here.
I'm learning on the way. I mean, it's a different game to Rocket League. It's nothing like it whatsoever.
Is that where you cast mostly, Rocket League?
Yeah, no, I'm mainly cast Rocket League at the moment.
How big is that game, like in Australia and New Zealand?
I don't know how you with esports. It's the hardest thing. How do you quantify? How do you say how big it is? It gets a lot of viewers. They've got 200, 300,000 people across Australia.
Really?
No, across global.
Wow.
Right.
I guess
Still
for the
good.
finals. Yeah, I don't know how do you
Is that for like the World Championship?
It's like the oceanic, they call it. You know, like the oceanic region, which is Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. I think fits in there as well. And yeah, actually, I think we're good to go. Sorry.
Check it out. We've got a grid.
We'll move on from Rocket League. Sorry, guys.
Race 1 of 18, round 1, and this is how they line up. Semper with that really nice 129.4 has locked in the pole. Ultimate Age 05, Adrian Yalpi, he was there at Bathurst last year. He's locked himself in on that front row. Behind him, we've got XE Mr. Bucket. Har 05, who was the original champion from the very first time we went out there. In position number 5, watch out for Mad Racer 38. He will be strong. Matty Bink will be one to watch out for. Superman 162. And on the back row, we've got Holden 96 in 7th position. And TDI Zulls will be starting off the back of the grid. So these are the 8 guys to watch out for. John O'Burrows right at the very back. He was the oldest of the field when we went running 12 months ago. And I think he still is. He was also the only guy to qualify on the steering wheel and pedals.
Oh, really?
When we did the last championship.
I wonder if he's still on the simulation then.
Well, when we rocked up at Bathurst and you had to compete on the steering wheel and pedals, you had a massive advantage. You absolutely smoked everyone for the first 7 races.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of an advantage, but it is open now to be either hand control or sim.
Right. So I wonder if anyone's sitting on sim then, because we know, or at least you and I at MEO, we saw Jacob Harvey. He did all right on the sim.
He was awesome. Well, the first championship wasn't a sim and he won it.
Yeah.
So he picked up to it pretty quick.
I wonder if he went back home and bought himself one. I mean, they're expensive, but they're worth it. Like, it's 1, it's so much fun. 2, it's so much fun. 3, it's so much fun. And 4, I mean, the simulation's the best part. It's why people buy virtual reality for games that they want to be in. Like, simulations has that effect. Actually, side note, people do buy virtual reality for simulations.
I've got it at
found
home.
out. Do you?
Yep.
Absolutely. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Games
a few different go. A bit of Rally Dirt. I'm a bit of Rally fan.
Oh, yeah.
But definitely would like to expand that out a little bit more as well.
Well, Forza 4 just came out,
Yep.
so...
Now that Horizons is brand new, I might have to dabble in that as well. But that's your 8 set for tonight. And no VR out there tonight. Mostly on hand controls, we believe.
Yep. I think we were talking about this a little bit before as well, that a lot of these players will probably pick up the controller just because it is easy to manage, easy to handle,
it's cheap.
a lot more reliable. Yeah, it's also cheap.
We believe there is an advantage to using the hand control as well.
As we're told, yeah.
In terms of time. Looks like the grid is just about set. We are in the loading phase. Who knows what to expect from this point onwards? Richie, I'm almost nervous, but we're off and running. And it is now finally here, the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. We've got the live stream happening here tonight. And we're also following on the Facebook live stream on the Supercars page as well. So let us know who you're cheering for. Let us know what's going on. They're 3 wide into the Andretti hairpin. And Mad Racer 38 has somehow popped out into second. He started off like the 3rd row.
Yeah, he's 5th position all the way up. That's
that was a killer start. He's
Semper's
going
still
for the lead
managing.
already, Rich.
Straight into it.
So he's putting the pressure on your race leader. Taking the first of the right-handers. Laguna Seca is the track, or the map, as we like to say in gaming. It'll take you a bit further back into the pack.
No ghost mode this time, though. So you're going to see a little bit of a change. And I was saying first lap, second lap, you might see a couple of those bumps come out as they come around the corner, but we'll see some of that attacking as well, especially to start off out round number 1. This is it. This is the opener, essentially. This is the first official race. You see Semper still in that first position there. But Richie.
The net code looks quite smooth.
Yeah.
A few corners back there, 2 cars running side by side. We'll get a car off through the dirt.
I feel like the corkscrew, it's already taken one. I think that was Superman there.
Yeah, Zach Donaldson, the first of the drivers to fall off, going through the corkscrew.
Yeah, it's always a hard thing to get right in sim racing is the net code. These cars get close together. It's quite often, you can get glitches and whatnot, but obviously pretty smooth there on the opening lap. And everyone's peg must be quite good. Looking pretty smooth so far.
Going straight now. This, you pick up as much speed as this as the Bathurst straight. I think I was asking Chad this the other day.
No, it's quite a short straight on this circuit. Bathurst's got 2 quite long straights.
You don't get much of a rest around Laguna Seca.
No, it's mostly just
some turns.
Yeah.
Just get it out about 10 times here today.
Fight for the lead is on. And we've actually had Ultimate Age 05 drop back to 3rd. And the fight is on between Andrew Dyson, who we ride on board with now, Semper. And the pressure's on from Mad Racer 38. Up the inside.
He's found it.
Can he pull it up, though?
Nope.
Not quite. This is actually on for the lead here.
Still got Ultimate coming out the back, though. Semper's managed to hold it, but the turn's there.
Check this out.
Mad Racer.
This is actually a pretty good battle. Ultimate Age 05 along, so 3-car fight for the lead.
Semper back into second. Ultimate coming up the side as well. Here's the corkscrew again. No. Excuse me.
No, you got it.
Was I?
Yeah, back yourself.
Hey, all right. No, I've got to believe in myself.
Getting those map pulls down.
Just all these new angles, and I'm going, wow.
Jacob Harvey with a massive slide going through the rainy curve. It's pretty frantic at the front of this pack, but Mad Racer is going to lead this lap, and the fight for second is back on. Semper gets back up the inside.
Semper's drawn back a little bit. Ultimate Age coming in 3rd as well.
Looking over the shoulder of Adrian Yalpi through turn 1. Pretty frantic start. Interesting, no one's gone for the pit stop yet.
Bit of brake locking and slide there. The tyre model must be quite forgiving.
I guess that answers our ABS question as well.
Yeah.
Haven't seen if traction control's been kicking in yet. I guess if we see anyone smoking it coming out of the corner, that'll be the answer to that question.
I think as well, I'm surprised we haven't seen. We saw Superman before, pretty much the only one to skid out there, and that was around the corkscrew. But everyone else been maintaining, especially in the first race. I was expecting a lot more collision. To be honest, I was just expecting everyone just to fall to pieces.
It's been clean. It's been very clean.
Yeah.
And this sort of front pack now is starting to break away a little bit. Here comes corkscrew again. They've settled down a little bit. That last lap was about as good as it gets in terms of a battle. All 3 of them swapping the race lead.
Feels like the battle's probably going to be between 2nd and 3rd in a second. This Ultimate Age you're watching, Semper in front of him.
Matty Bink's done a really good job to try and break away from this pack. Someone's got to pit, and surely, yes, it's Adrian Yalpi, so first of the stops. And this will give him some clean air. So strategic call. We don't believe that you really feel the effects later for tyre life, so there's almost no risk it's going on in the lane.
Now you wanted to talk about penalties. Does that count?
I don't even think he was in control of the car at that point.
That's fair.
But shunting in pit lane usually not allowed.
He's not going to give him a bash on the way out.
So the 2 good mates actually pitting then. So that was Yalpi and Jacob Harvey.
Yep.
They were the 2 pre-race favourites.
Maybe the bashing was intentional. Anyway.
All right, so back out with your race leader. And he's broken away a little bit. But the race will really be on now between the guy we're looking at and the first of the guys to have pitted. So if you're in this scenario, Rich, you're back out on track. What are you doing after that pit stop?
Just going flat out, trying to be as quick as possible.
Need to be clean?
Yeah, obviously knowing those guys up the road have got to take their stop later. So it's all about trying to get into a good fast rhythm and yeah, just try and cover some more ground than them until they're able to take their stop.
If you're leading the pack, do you wait for second position to come through? Do you wait for second position to pit stop?
I'm not too sure. I mean, it just depends on how the guy's feeling, I guess. Shouldn't make too much of a difference. Obviously, without the you know, tire wear and thermal effects and whatnot. I guess it's more a case of oh, we've got the leader incoming now. Yeah,
Okay.
it's more a case of the yeah, what the leader does, I guess.
Someone on Facebook's telling us that a few of the people are at least using a wheel. They reckon Jono Burrows is. So we talked about that earlier because he did use a wheel to qualify for the original championship. So getting a bit of intel off Facebook. If you're watching on any of the streams, get in contact. But
I'd be curious to know, yeah, what each driver uses.
What's their setup at home if you know these guys?
Be curious as well what people think if it's easier or not.
I've always thought it is. I'm absolutely hopeless when I use a hand control.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
same.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel
no
right.
chance.
Changing gear with the B button just doesn't feel right.
No.
Especially when the clutch is A. So, anyway, they can weigh in with their 2 cents, but
So let's check out a replay. Boost Mobile, and it was an awkward entrance into the pits. They don't smile upon that sort of action in the real scenario, Richie, but I think you might get away with it here.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to do that and not rip the front bumper off, I guess.
Back up to the corkscrew.
not have to pay for it either.
Yeah, exactly.
Semper taking the lead right now. Remember, we had Mad Racer, went in for the pit stop, so will shortly be behind.
Yeah, that's the key now. Mad Racer and Ultimate Age and Haro 5 have all pitted. So when does this guy come in? That's the question. He's sort of committed now. Needs to be really clean.
So what lap? With third, fourth lap, I think, coming in here. So remember, 12-lap race. 7 more to go for Semper. It's about when. He's got a sizable lead now, but as soon as he goes in that pit stop, he'll be overtaken.
Down through the Andretti hairpin once again. Just needs to be clean and consistent from this point. There's really nothing in it between the top three. Bit of mid-corner oversteer. Oh, got the limiter bad there.
Yeah.
You'd at least hope that they're running on manual.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope so.
kind of takes the fun away from it, doesn't
That
it?
answers that question.
Does this make you want to play on Laguna Seca after watching this? Like, not play, but like, does this make you want to take a trip out and go to California?
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Weather looks good.
Yeah. Do you prefer the wet? I mean, you look like you handle yourself well on it.
Depends on how the car feels, really.
Because
sometimes it's the car gives you confidence, and other times it doesn't. And when it's raining and your car's not giving you confidence, all you want to do is come into the pit lane and switch the engine off. But so when it's like that, then I'd say no. But it's nice to be if it's the other way around and everyone else is feeling like that, and you're feeling comfortable, because then it's nice to sort of take advantage of that situation. But
He says it, but typically he's very, very good in the rain.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like other drivers, wouldn't be confident in the rain. So
Kiwis in general just need to be really quick in I'm serious, not even joking. For whatever reason, there's 3 or 4 New Zealanders that run in supercars, and every time it rains, they seem to dominate.
it's got the cold to go with it.
All right, so this is the battle between Superman, who we are seeing up the road, and Jono Burrows, who we believe is actually using the steering wheel and pedals, so respect.
good man.
Yeah, although to be honest, if you're quick out there on a hand control, I think that's almost more impressive.
Yeah.
The question will be, who's leading the race after the leader pits? Big lock up ahead. And this is becoming a little bit of a battle pack now. Still no sign of the leader making that pit stop. Here he is.
Not sure what lap again. Should be 5th, if I'm not mistaken. So Semper there. He's going to take the lead, but again, waiting for that pit stop there. Expecting a lot out of Jacob Harvey here today. Adrian Yalpi as well, who's Ultimate Age 05. Harvey, Haro 5. Haro 5.
Either way you want to say.
All right, well, I guess we'll work
So
that
is
out.
this the time that Semper will come in? Last few laps of this race. We'll just see if he ducks off into pit lane, and he does. So this is actually the race for the lead right now. Can he get out of pit road, back out there ahead of the guys that he was fighting before this round of pit stops? And this will be one of the guys that he's fighting with. Coming out of the corkscrew once this pit stop's complete. This will be the race off pit road. Needs to come out of the Andretti hairpin out in first place. Wasn't that great little battle?
He built a pretty big lead as well. So.
Yeah, between Mad Racer 38 and Adrian Yalpi. And here come the pack now. He may have actually got this done, Rich. It's going to be close.
Stuff. Oh, no.
Not quite. So just at the re-entry, Mad Racer gets him covered. Gives him a slight bump. And how about this? The battle now well and truly alive. If anything, it was closer than it was before the pit stops. And Jacob Harvey a part of this fight too. Absolutely on at the front. Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. Still a long way to go here at Laguna Seca.
Coming up the rear, Mad Racer there.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties, and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And a race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, round one, race one, Laguna Seca. And the action is on at the front. Pit stops have all been served. And this is the front four.
Ooh.
And it's been a pretty hectic little battle pack, this one. These two, Richie, are just starting to square off against one another.
Yep.
And as a result, it's cost them a little bit of time. Now, these two are very good friends. They actually raced in their own league together. They race each other pretty much every week. So they know each other pretty well, I'd say.
Yep.
I feel like today the story's been a little bit about Stemper though. Went in for that pit stop, still maintaining second, but it's a Mad Racer out in first at the moment, closely behind his Stemper.
I think Ultimate Age 05, who we're looking at here, has actually got the speed, but just needs to get around Haro 5. This is a chance to the left-hander. Throws it late,
Oh.
and straight at the back of him.
Oh,
He
no.
mistimed it. You could see what he was trying to do. Just couldn't quite get the car to where he needed it.
They both stayed on the road, though, which is quite surprising.
Now, I think just about half the way through after that last lap. But a bit of distance built here between second and third. You see the two friends going at it meanwhile.
So 12 laps, can't be long left, and the front four are just starting to break away slightly. Great effort from Matt Bink to get back to the lead of this race after the pit stop process. Andrew Dyson, second at the moment. Haro 5 looks to have just steadied himself now in third, but this is where Adrian Yalpi's been quick.
Set the tone earlier on. He's actually the same age as me. I'm just looking now, from the eastern suburbs. So
Separated at birth.
yeah,
Hysterics, there you go.
unfortunately,
You can get a few tips.
he's about 2 months older there.
Man, he carries some wicked speed through the last sector, Adrian Yalpi, but he just can't seem to get around his good buddy. And as a result, they're both losing time. Here's his chance again. The left-hander.
Looks like there's a bit of a break as well. Not sure what happened to the rest of the pack, but the other 4 feel like they're a bit behind. Wonder if we could look at that map at some point. In this corner.
No change in the top 4 spots.
No. All of them, I think, have... so all 4 of these guys have all done their pit stop.
Yes.
So...
yeah, pretty much everyone's cleared the compulsory pit stop now. And it was remarkably even at the end of it as well.
Yeah.
You don't always see that.
I think it's pretty big that Semper held top 2 as well. I mean, he built out a sizable lead at the start. And sitting in second, still can't overtake. There's a bit of distance between first and second, but the pack is here in third and fourth.
Again, it looks like Yalpi's got the speed, but he's got that roadblock ahead of him in third at the moment. No way around Jacob Harvey. It is a pretty tough track to pass. Again to the top at Corkscrew. It's about 55 metres of elevation change at Laguna Seca from top to bottom, and this is as high as it gets. And it falls away awfully quick.
But this is the point that breaks everything. Corkscrew already stopped. I mean, at the moment, I'm thinking Superman's down at the back.
Yeah, opening lap mistake cost him heavily.
Zachariah Donaldson there, Country Victoria. Nowhere to be seen at the moment. Probably down that bottom 4. Turn again. Doesn't look like Ultimate Age. Able to get any ground here on Jacob Harvey. But leading the pack. A very good start here from Mad Racer.
20 points for the race winner. Down to 2 points for last position. And a pretty good chance to open the account here right now for Mad Racer, Matty Bink. And a mistake from Semper. Haven't seen too much of that. It'll cost him. Late on the brakes. And we'll drop all the way back to fourth. There you go, Richie. One mistake. It's costly.
Yep.
Not good for Semper whatsoever, especially the distance he maintained after that pit stop. Now into fourth. Cutting up Ultimate Age. We'll get the inside track here, but doesn't look like Semper will be able to break this anytime soon. So, lap 7. I'm just going with lap 7 at the moment, gents. I hope I'm right. We might finish 1 lap earlier. We might finish 1 lap later.
We've lost the ticker.
We don't need the ticker. We're guessing it.
We'll try and update you as how we go. Semper he's looking aggressive now because he lost all those spots. He's thrown away some points and he clearly wants it back.
Ooh.
He's looking a little bit frustrated. Obviously lost that lead after the pit stops and probably just trying a bit too hard to make up for lost ground and made a mistake, and then obviously it's flown into another one there as well. So
lost a bit of distance there after that that skid out between third and fourth.
This is what happened. Look further up the road. Looked like he dropped the left rear off.
Yeah, it looks like he just got the left side of the car on the dirt before he turned in there.
So it wasn't even that he missed the braking point. That's pretty unlucky.
See the result of it now as well.
So
falling behind.
Back to fourth. It's going to cost him some points, but there's still time.
And that's what life's about, apparently. Welcome back. You know what happened? Semper quit. No, I'm not going to say. I don't know what happened.
Welcome to esports.
Well,
that's the only way that you can
was
describe
upset and he left. We'll figure that out shortly. However, that's a good start, I think, for Mad Racer there. Isn't that? No, that's our 6th place from last year.
Well, they did talk about this possibility happening, and if it did happen, then they may just reward points on whatever the circumstance was if there was dropout. They did have a little bit of drama with it earlier, and that is essentially because you got e-racing happening with everyone from their own home setup.
Yeah.
As well. You do have the potential for drama to pop in. So we'll try and clarify exactly what the result is, if there is one, of race 1 at Laguna Seca. We had a pretty clear front 4 at the front of the pack.
Yeah, didn't know where the back 4 were. I mean, just disappeared, really. So there's a big gap there, and you can see skill. I mean, we've got people in that top 4 position who have been here before. Semper, Yalpi, Harvey's there as well. And I think we're looking at Matthew Bing to finish it off. There are people who've been here last year.
I'm watching the comments come through on Facebook. Someone wants a full restart.
Oh.
I think
yeah.
that was probably the guy who was in last at the moment. Said, you know what, let's just start this again. It's probably him.
Probably just logged in to put that down. There was a big gap though, so I see why you comment.
You're going to get this. It's new technology. How have you handled this? Surely you've seen this happen before with esports. With the
how have I handled this?
Yeah.
I pretend like nothing's wrong. I look at the camera and I say, we'll be right back.
Have you had it happen in plenty of shoutcasting before?
Yeah.
What's usually the rules in that scenario? Because there's a genuine chance that it happens with online gaming.
Usually you reset the game. Like, the way you do it is reset the game.
How far in have you been before when you've seen that happen?
But the thing is, like, I deal with like Rocket League's 5-minute games. So as soon as you...
So it's not too bad.
Yeah, if the game like screws up at 3 minutes in, you go, right, we'll just reset the game. Other things like, League of Legends, I'm just dropping game names here. I'm not sure if that's okay.
Go for it.
But if you said yes, I'm covered by you.
You've got permission.
With that, they're 40-minute games. So if something happens in 25 minutes in, something that is game breaking, you have to reset.
Serious?
Yeah, because even though it's 25 minutes, it's one play makes or breaks the game. I guess it's the same in this, but one turn dictates the game. One mistake by a player dictates the game. So if you're 11 laps into a 12-lap race, and there's something that something happens with the game itself, then absolutely reset. If it's something with the player, then the player's obviously liable. And
we'll have to dig into the rule book on that one.
Yeah.
You don't get that in the real thing, I suppose, Richie.
No, it'd be nice if we had a reset button in the car.
We've all needed it at one point in our lives. Let's check out some replays of how that one started. And there was some pretty good 3-wide action. That was a pretty serious start for Mad Racer. He came flying through the pack. Got an absolutely killer start. And because the start of the race happened so quickly, you can actually make some spots up. There's a bit of aggravation in the pit lane.
Yep.
Bit of crazy stuff.
Love how we keep coming back to this point.
And this was the re-entry on the way out of the pits. And that's how close it was. Pretty good racing from Semper to try and stay off the back of Mad Racer at that point. And until we had the glitch, at least, Mad Racer led from that point onwards. Semper slotted into second. And they sort of sat that way for about 5 laps.
Until it all came crumbling down. I think we're going to see this in a second.
Just overcooked it.
That's unfortunate. That put him down into 4th place as Ultimate Age took his position. It was Mad Racer leading the pack.
Yeah, driver of the race absolutely had to be this guy. He just sat there throughout the whole course of it. Looked very, very comfortable indeed. And like we mentioned, he started so far back down in the pack. So not a bad start. He's got to try and back that up now. We'll try and figure out exactly A, what the results are, B, what that means for the points, and then see what that means for the grid at Spa, because that'll probably put him off the back of the grid, I imagine.
Yeah, I was about to say, because we're going forward, that's it for Laguna Seca, if that is it. I think we've kind of seen a bit of a result of players spending, those weeks on Bathurst and maybe not preparing as much as possible for this map. So Spa's going to be even more interesting, because I think from memory, from my interceptions today of my absolutely horrible games on it, a lot of straights on there, a lot of chance for speed, and a lot of chance for a mistake again.
All right, so I did see a lot of people in the comments saying that they want to rush out to Harvey Norman, pick up an Xbox, and hop on Forza Motorsport 7. The good news is there's a home for you now as well, because we've got the Cup Series starting tomorrow night. So if you're not good enough to qualify for the top 8, you're not quite at Richie Stanaway level, then we've at least got the Cup that you can be a part of.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about this earlier. We're going to have separate competitions running on Wednesday night. You'll pretty much have a chance to race people that you're sort of similar in terms of lap speed to, but it's a great entry level into playing Forza or even having a crack at esports.
Yeah, absolutely, especially for someone like me, who I've proved many times today that I'm down at that entry level. I mean, there's opportunities. I think there's a bit of cash there as well for you, just to get you motivated. It's kind of how you bridge the gap, and you need to start in amateur level tournaments, which is what this is, to get to the tournaments like this, like the E Series, and get on levels like this top 8. So for anyone who's trying to become an aspiring driver, or at least get better at Forza, this is how you do it.
Yeah, and we've got a few of the actual drivers watching along as well on the Facebook live stream. I've just seen Kurt Kostecki's name pop up as well. So a few of the younger guys who race supercars for real, they're all having a bit of a watch right now. It's not the real deal tonight. It's the Supercars E-Series, which is thanks to Boost Mobile and fantastic support from Harvey Norman. So go pick up a kit tomorrow, and you can join for real tomorrow night for the Cup Series. Like we mentioned, there's cash and prizes up for grabs across both championships. There's $20,000 worth of cash and prizes. So for a first up attempt at an esports series, not too bad.
Yeah, I think it's like $2,000 and $500 for a Harvey Norman gift card there, so for first place by the end. And after this big long week rush, I think rush, not the right word, but I think we'll see
everyone diving in at the last moment. Yeah, the qualifiers are open from Sandown onwards. So, all right, we'll get another quick break in here. Don't go anywhere, because Spa's coming up next.
Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And the race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And the race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
It's our first crack at E-Series racing. It's the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. We're going live tonight with 3 races. Qualifying in race 1 from Laguna Seca has been completed, and we'll be able to get those results to you shortly. As a matter of fact, here they are. Mad Racer 38, as we saw out front, getting the win. And what a huge comeback that was from Jacob Harvey to finish second and collect a huge bag of points. Richie, unlucky for Semper. He was sitting there for P2 and threw it away.
Yeah, but, you know, it's still early days, only the first race, so it's not too bad.
Reverse grid now as well, so we're changing things up. Mad Racer will be at the back, and Teddy Izul, who we were looking at earlier in the day, or earlier in the night, I should say, kind of led the charge, and surprising to see him back in 8th position. But then again, that's where he started, so maybe this can give him a bit of a head start. Maybe round 2 as we move over to Spark and give him that bit of an edge.
So that'll set the grid for that second race, albeit reverse grid. We saw Mad Racer 38 get a really good start. I think he was off about the 3rd row for that one, and he was pretty much second down at turn 1. The funny thing about the start process for Forza is it sort of springs a surprise on you. So if you're ready for it, you might be able to actually pick up a few spots. Turn 1 at Spa, they're actually starting on the Grand Prix circuit, not the GT circuit. So you do have La Source as the first corner, so there's a chance to make some spots up there, potentially. Maybe. This is where we're going. It is Forza Motorsport 7. Spa, Francorchamps. It's a place where Richie has raced before. We're hidden away in the Ardennes forests. A beautiful part of the world. Picturesque, if you've had a chance to visit. It's stunning. A rise of 28 metres in altitude in one corner. It's Eau Rouge. It's probably the most famous corner in the world. Richie's got a bit of a wry smile on his face, remembering what it was like to drive an open wheeler through there.
Yep.
What is Eau Rouge like at full speed?
Yeah, it's good in a Formula car. Highest level I raced there was in GB2, so not too far off F1 speed, so it was obviously pretty awesome. But
who are some of the guys out there that are well known now that you're up against?
Stoffel Van Dorn was probably the top guy during my year. I can't remember who else was. Pierre Gasly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a couple of fairly well-known F1 guys. That's the grid. As we saw reverse from race number 1. Race 2 is at Spa. 18 race championship, the first 3 races happening tonight. The first one ended rather abruptly. Hopefully we get to the checkered flag this time through. Semper was quick. Can he get back through the field to pick up some spots? Reverse grid race number 2.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. Because we did see TDI, he came in the 8th position before.
Yeah.
Semper was in 4th.
Yeah, I would have had Mad Racer off the back.
Yeah, I think Mad Racer should be in the 8th position. Anyway, I guess we'll see when we go into the race, especially since now we're going on to Spa, and you're talking about, how do you say, Eau Rouge?
Eau Rouge.
Eau Rouge.
Yeah,
I think you're French.
it roughly translates to red water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does it?
If you want to read into the literal meaning of what that might mean.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the world's most dangerous corner.
Ah.
So it's got a bit of a grim meaning. Yeah, there you go. The penny dropped. You're like, oh, that's actually pretty grim. But it is widely regarded, if you haven't had a chance to see a race at Spa before, as pretty much the most exciting corner in world motorsport. We're about to see what a supercar goes like through there. Have you had a chance to play it on any sims before?
Yeah, I've done a lot of iRacing at Spa, so it's obviously a very different corner in a touring car compared to an open wheeler. But you know, in any car, it's a good car. It was I raced GT cars there as well, so after racing an open wheeler there, it was a lot different to actually have that part of the track as a corner. Obviously, an open wheeler with all the downforce and speed, it's still a corner, but it's obviously you know, not quite as much of a corner as it is in a GT or a touring car. So
the good news is,
yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys.
Right, we're off and running. We're about to get our first taste of supercars at Spa. Through La Source, the first corner, tight hairpin, a good chance to make some spots up. And it'll be TDI Zulz who leads us down. This is approaching 6th gear, 250 Ks, and a little lift going through Eau Rouge. Here we go.
8 laps on this one as well, so bit of a shorter one, but remember, a bit of a longer map is the terminology we're using today.
A few guys going a little bit wide through Radion, but that's to be expected when you just have no idea what sort of front group you're going to have when you're the leader.
Well, Superman in the last time, I think he was the one that spun out early as we looked at him through Laguna Seca.
Here we go. It's going to be on down here under brakes for the right-hander. Change for the lead. Superman goes through. You'll be really careful because they've blocked off the exit there as well with a tyre wall, so you can't run wide.
I was going to say cold brakes, cold tyres, but the front brakes are glowing already.
Yeah,
so.
they've built brake temp pretty quick, haven't they?
Yep.
The track falls away here for this long loading right-hander, and it's pretty easy to overcook. Turn 11, the left-hander, short, and then back onto the throttle and the run downhill.
Superman in the lead though. TDI Zulz behind him. Zulz already falling behind Superman. Again, that recovery from the last time. I think he finished in 7th or 6th. So an opportunity for him to come back here in this reverse grid. But Semper is taken over.
That's a good move, going up through campus. Knew the layout well, knew where to put the car, and moves through. Didn't see too much of Holden 96 in the last race. Matty Collins, he's sort of floating around this front pack now as well. And it's flat out here, all the way up to Blanchimont. I was doing some laps before. You can get through Blanchimont in 6 with just a little lift, but maybe not if you're in the toe like this. Andrew Dyson has to get out of it early.
French is not bad. It is French, just showing how cultured I am.
The track is based in Belgium, but a lot of the corner names, yeah.
Okay, good.
So change for the lead. Blanchimont caught him out. And Andrew Dyson now goes through.
Real slow around those corners.
So Semper's going to bag some points here, because that's a pretty handy lead already. 8 laps to go. Fighters on at La Source. Holden 96 will get up the inside here.
Now, I'm not sure if we missed it on the back end there, but I saw someone spin out. I saw someone fall back behind the pack, and might have been Mad Racer there. Actually, could have been one of our favourites in Jacob Harvey. He's sitting in 8th position right now, and Adrian Yalpe sitting in 6th. So I'm not sure if that was a spin out or maybe just too fast around the corner, but seems to be a bit of a gap now between 1st and 5th, and the rest of the pack falling behind too.
Fight for second still on. Superman on the approach, he's tucked in. Holden 96 makes his intentions fairly clear. He's parked that over to the right-hand side. Let's check out that change for the lead at Blanchimont. And a fair amount of understeer. I guess when you're the leader, you've got no idea what to expect sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you haven't done a lap of this place tonight.
Yeah. Or in a while by my calculations, I guess.
So Jacob Harvey with some time to make up. He's dropped a long way off the back. This is the fight for second.
Superman Holden's 96 who's taken the lead here.
Looking over the back of Jono Burrows. TDI Zulls, we're riding on board with him right now.
Andrew Dyson made a big of a lead for himself here. TDI Zulls start out in first, but unfortunately he's dropped back a little bit. Mad Racer down in that 8th position. Haro, that's Jacob Harvey, who's managed to catch up, but again, this lead, this 4-pack lead is still there. And Semper out in first.
It's a bit of a queue starting to form behind the number 6 of Matty Collins from Adelaide. 22 years of age. He's a big SVG fan in real life. Let's see if he can channel a bit of Shane Van Gisbergen right now at Spa. Semper's streaking away with this one. Now, Richie, if you're in this little battle pack, now would be the time to pit, surely.
Yeah, I think that'll be probably the best thing to do at the moment. Just get out of the pack and get a nice clear track and no distractions in front.
Pit entrance is coming up on the right-hand side in this chicane. Will anyone duck off to the right and take that pit entrance? Yes. Superman comes in, and that is a strategic ploy from Zach Donaldson to get out of the traffic. We saw how effective that was in the opening race at Laguna Seca. You just lose too much time fighting in the traffic, so he'll take that early pit stop. Looks like, I was about to say, yeah, it looked like he was defending from someone then, and it was. Exie missed a bucket in the fight at La Source. Got the move made.
Mr. Bucket up to third now.
He's cruising through. He's got his foot in the bucket.
Yep.
That's where he gets the nickname from, I guess. Back through Eau Rouge.
It's a good username, that one.
He'll probably be sorely disappointed that he's going to be in a Commodore tonight, given the XE part of the name, but he's about to get picked off here, potentially at the end of the Camel Straight. He's got it safe, so he's through to third, but we have had the first of our drivers come into the pits.
Finally making the move there. Zool's behind him. Already missed a bucket. He's one of our freshies, one of our new people.
Yeah, well,
from Adelaide.
He's popped up out of nowhere, really, and he was pretty quick earlier in the qualifiers with the 2:05.9 around Bathurst. 9/10 off the quickest time, but good enough to be 6th. And now, potentially, fighting for a podium. Meanwhile, Semper, he's streets away. This is Pouillon, the long-loading left-hander. Nowhere near the sort of grip that Richie would have had in a GP2 car around there. And that's evidenced by these two right now pushing the limits.
Lucky for Bucket, Zul's went wide as well, so he'll maintain that distance. Zul's coming up behind him. Semper, as you said before, hasn't got in the pit stop yet, so he's got a favourable lead here. In the second map of the night, lap number 3. Oh, there we go. Now, so more graphics now.
We've got this little breakaway pack. That shows it nicely of those who haven't pitted. And it looks like a bunch of guys taking the early pit stop because they've dropped considerably down the order, which means they've made that pit stop.
But again, Semper leaving it till some of the later laps.
Now, will the leader or anyone in this front 3 decide to take the pit stop now? Make that front 4. Because we've also got Jono Burrows out the back of this little pack.
Had to find out.
And Burrows will pit.
He's the only one out of them, though. Semper going to wait a little bit longer as he crosses lap 4.
So you've got that 4-car battle going through Blanchimont now, which you can see second battle pack. And he's going to pop out right in the middle of them.
A little bit messy behind them. Not sure what happened earlier on.
Yeah, something went down at the chicane in the opening lap, and it's taken out some of the big guys as well, because we've got Adrian Yalpi back there. We've got Jacob Harvey back there.
Maybe they were trying to pit earlier on and missed the mark, or just decided on a very late turn. Who knows? But it seems to affect the back of the pack, as you said. They're coming out now, and he's going to fit right in the middle.
Right in between them. Whew. Just misses out on picking up a spot and goes to the back of the pack. So that gives you an idea. If you think about where he was before that pit stop and where the other 3 were ahead of him, it's going to be actually really close between the leaders and the front 2 cars on this pack, which is Mad Racer 38 and Haro 5.
As we saw in the first map, as we saw in Laguna Seca, Pit stop can affect the standings a little bit. See if he can close some of that distance. TDI Zul, who's, again, now dropped all the way to 8th. Mad Racer. Sitting here. What is he? We're looking at first now, I think. No, sorry. Semper's still in first as he hasn't pitted just yet. We're looking at 4th and 5th. Mad Racer leading the charge and Ultimate Age just behind him. Friendly face of Haro 05 coming up closely behind him as well.
This is the run down to the left-hander. Turn 11. Track starts to descend. They're right on the limit, kicking up the grass. Sizing him up here again.
Turn's going
Andrew
a bit wide.
Yelpy. So this could well be the front battle pack, or at least the leaders, once the guys at the front have their pit stop. But the big question will be, where does Semper come out? So Semper the leader, halfway home here at Spa.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties, and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And the race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Streaming live tonight, it's the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. Race 2, round 1. Action from Spa. Pit stops complete. Semper has come back out ahead of the field. So Andrew Dyson doing it nicely. And Richie, I get the feeling he's about to shake off the disappointment of throwing away some points at Laguna Seca here.
Yeah, it's looking good for him.
Pretty comfortable at the moment. He's got a 2.9 second lead over Mad Racer 38. Matty Bink. And the front four from the last race have sort of made their way through to the front, albeit with the difference of Holden 96, Matty Collins, who we're riding a ball with right now.
But this time, pack's going to come in a little bit. Top 8 together this time. So might be a bit of a closer race. Remember, only 8 laps here on lap 5 of 8.
It's a long lap Spa as well, 7 kilometres. We think about Bathurst being our longest track at 6.2 Ks. These guys throw on an extra 800 metres. The original circuit for Spa was 14 kilometres back in the day.
Fair enough.
Consider yourself lucky, Richie, that you never had to run back in those days.
Yeah, exactly.
14 kilometre circuit, and that was one of the shorter ones back then.
I don't know, I reckon it would have been pretty fun.
You're braver than me. No safety barriers, fuel cans sitting on either sides of your legs.
Yeah, it would have been good.
You're a different breed, I'll give you that. Down at the chicane, we're looking high above Jacob Harvey, Haro 5, as he tries to wheel his way to the front. He finished second in the opening race. He's got some spots to make up for here. Now, this would be a pretty good recovery if indeed he did spin on that opening lap. We did see some action going on back there.
He's done well. Fifth position there. Coming up the rear of Holden 96. But Semper, look at that. Already up the hill, he's gone. Mad Racer just trying to catch up, and at the moment, that's what you want from Semper after what was a bit of a disappointing finish considering of how he had the lead in the last game and just fell so far behind. This is a good recovery and this is a good start, especially when we look at that accumulative grid, I'm going to call it. I don't know if that's been coined yet, but
No, you got it.
Thanks.
Cumulative points.
Thanks.
Set the grid for race number 3. Picking up the lingo nice and quick there.
I'm getting there.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. Get there. But I think back on the point of Semper, this is what you want, especially in the first week. If you set yourself up for the start, if you get those points nice and early, then I don't know. I was going to ask you, Richie, but I guess you don't deal with points.
What do you mean?
Well,
just set the grid.
Yeah.
Well, in Supercars, every time Richie goes on track, he has to qualify.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's a different sort of... We used to have progressive grids and stuff like that. Do you think it adds to better racing, Richie, having qualifying for each race?
Yeah, qualifying is much better. You see progressive grids a lot more in like lower junior categories when obviously you don't have as much track time, but obviously up in the higher ranks, it's much better to have a qualifying session for each race. Got
some data here.
Some data here, yeah.
So we can check out their steering angle, and a guy like Ultimate Age 05 is actually quite smooth. You can see that. So on the right-hand side, just watch that steering angle. Remember, a lot of these guys, and I'm almost convinced that he's using a hand control. To be able to do that with a joystick, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, if he's using a hand controller, that's very impressive.
Just slight movements.
So how would you see that differently if they're using a simulation?
Well, looking at the way that he was using the steering was almost like he was using a wheel.
Yeah.
Right.
That's, you compare that to a guy like, I believe, Jacob Harvey, for example, who is a lot more sort of rapid with the joystick movement. Fight is on right now for third. Ultimate Age under fire. He's been the aggressor pretty much all race long, but now he's got Matt Collins for company. 22-year-old from Adelaide. Also keeps an eye on the Overwatch scene, so he's a bit of an esports guy himself, Matty Collins. Yeah.
Well, you know.
Have you ever played Overwatch?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You like it?
Oh, mate.
Never played it.
You should play Overwatch.
I might get into it.
You should. It's like...
Isn't it like
it's like CS?
Like
CS,
a MOBA, but...
Yeah, no, it's not a MOBA. It's like you capture points and everything. So it's like CS. Obviously, it's not bomb. You know, it's not planting a bomb or rescuing a hostage.
Yeah.
But it's like it's. I don't know how we got here. It's like, how do you explain Overwatch? It's a 6v6 that. Why can't I explain Overwatch? I don't know.
You commentated, don't you?
No, I don't. I don't commentate.
So it's
I'm
like
glad.
an objective hold and like capture and hold.
Yeah, kind of. It's very strategic in the sense that you have support, you have tanks, you have damage. So you know, you got a front line. You have fights. It's like it's a 6v6.
Bit more going on than
yeah.
CS.
It's to a degree. It's a lot more team fight based than CS.
Sounds horrible if you're just playing pugs though.
It sounds horrible because I can't explain it. You know, I'm glad I don't commentate it because otherwise I probably wouldn't have a job to go back to. So.
As you can probably tell, Richie's a genuine gaming fan.
Yeah,
if you haven't picked up on that yet.
No, I think we have.
We showed him the studio here where they do a lot of esports broadcasts on a very, very grand scale, and he was pretty excited.
It's a good setup. It's a pretty good setup here. The stage is absolutely sick.
So we're in the dying stages of race number 2, and it's sort of settled down at the front. We didn't see too much of Semper in this race. He picked up the lead early, and that's pretty much where he stayed.
He's gone. He's got a pretty massive lead actually over Mad Racer. And the distance between second and third has started building as well. Onto lap 7 of 8 here. As you said earlier, everyone's done their pit stop. So right now, it's just about that distance and building it up. Semper's done exactly that here in the second race. Looking to equalise and build up his points from game number 1 on Laguna Seca. And now on to Spa, lap 8 of 8. This is the last one here, Chad. Finishing it off.
So back on board with Ultimate Age 05, and a good chance to just watch how smooth he is again. Going up towards Eau Rouge.
Oh, that's an angle and a half.
There's a different view for you.
Yeah.
So slight lift, just drops about 1,000 RPM. But crazy smooth. Semper the race leader, and the lead is pretty big. Pretty much the entire length of the Kemmel Straight now.
Curious as to, of course, we're in a break. I'm curious as to when that pit stop came through because he was I think he was holding first back then as well, but it wasn't this much of a lead. So
he's just opened it up. And again, pretty smooth as well as you'd expect from the race leader. So Andrew Dyson's about to cash in here. Last lap.
Semper going to go a little bit in there, but it's not going to affect him too much.
When he qualified for the original Harvey Norman series last year, which happened live at Bathurst, he needed over 200 laps trying to qualify for that.
Wow.
So spent a lot of time committed to it, committed to the Xbox, committed to Forza, and it paid off. Won himself a free trip to Bathurst and got to compete in the 8-race championship. Was part of the. We also had a Pro-Am that happened there as well.
Third in that race as well.
So pretty much came out straight away and looked like he was going to be pretty strong. It's from Wallen in northwest Victoria. Big Craig Lowndes fan. So he'd be happy with how Bathurst washed out.
Oh, yeah.
Off the back of another big Lowndes and Richo win. And for the last time, he'll send it down Blanchimont. It's been interesting seeing what a supercars race would look like at Spa. Lots of understeer was the answer through some of the big loading corners. This is where he got the lead, going through Blanchimont in the opening lap. And they never saw him again. Just the chicane to go of this 7K circuit, Spa-Francorchamps. Second race in the opening round. And the 30-year-old from Wallen in Victoria is going to get the job done. And he's going to celebrate as well on his way to the checkered flag. Job done. Congratulations, Semper. Race winner. Makes up for the mistake that he made at Laguna Seca. And behind them, there's a pretty good scrap going on from Mad Racer all the way down through Ultimate Age 05, Holden 96, and then Har 05 getting some good points as well. So it's looking pretty good for Semper and Mad Racer 38 in terms of the championship. So there you go, Richie. We've had a chance to see a full race now go through. It's sort of settled down after the pit stops, I guess you could say. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'd be curious to see how many hours each driver has put in on each map. Obviously, Semper looked pretty dominant there. So yeah, just have to see how everyone gets on. Obviously now going back to Bathurst, which everyone would have practiced a lot on.
Yep.
Obviously for that qualifying. So yeah, obviously Semper pretty dominant there, but yeah, he obviously would have been pretty keen to make up for you know, the mistakes at Laguna. So yeah, it was good to see.
Probably would have been leading that championship had he just not ducked that left rear tyre off at Laguna Seca. So that's how it washes up. Hysterics, we're starting to see some different results here, aren't we? And we're not seeing Jacob Harvey as high up the order as we would have thought.
No, we're not, and it just puts a measure out there on two maps that we haven't seen these guys play, that we haven't expected these guys to do well at. I mean, Semper there, you know, we expected after what we saw early in Laguna Seca, you know, a couple of issues, fixes that up second time around and on Spa, and now it'll be a bit of a test, because if Jacob Harvey doesn't make up the time here coming up into Bathurst, then there's going to be a real issue, and maybe it opens the way up in week number 1.
Yeah, well, Bathurst is definitely a specialty track. Mad Racer 38 actually took the fastest lap of the race, looking at that, but it was all Semper at the front, and poor Teddy Azuls, he got slotted down the order a little bit then. I think he'd be looking forward to getting back to Bathurst, and I'm just starting to wonder if that is what we were talking about earlier, if he is running a sim at home. And if there is a disadvantage to using a sim, because that's twice now we've seen him get ganged up on the opening lap. So maybe there's something in that. According to our sources on Facebook Live, he's running a wheel and pedal setup, TDI Azul, so maybe that's the answer to what's happened there to him.
2 8th place positions in a row, so it's not going to be good. But of course, here as well, he's going to start 8th. There's no ifs and nats about it because of the cumulative system. There's no way he can be any higher than 8th, so he's going to have to try something miraculous. But then again, remember, it's Mount Panorama. It's the map these guys have played in and out. This is how they got top 8, so there's got to be a reason for it. And Teddy Azul's going to have to really bring something special out here.
Yeah, I think like Richie said, though, they're also evenly matched at Bathurst as well. So I think if anywhere grid positions are going to help, it's probably going to be Bathurst, because how are you going to make up, you know, a full second on someone?
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, once the race settles down there, it should be a lot more calm. So obviously their qualifying position is pretty important.
So that's going to obviously change how the point scenario looks after those first 2 races. A reminder, you get 20 points for a race win. It goes all the way down to 2 points for finishing last. Just the 8 cars or 8 drivers or 8 competitors that we have going through to each of those races. We've sorted that out from 4,500 people who put in a lap on Forza Motorsport 7 down to 32. Those top 32 raced off tonight in qualifiers, down to the top 16, down to the top 8. And now we're 2 races in. We'll have a look at those points shortly as to exactly how that's looking right now. But what we do know is that we've seen Semper show his hand and show some speed as well. But can he continue that going on through to Bathurst? What's the key to consistency, Richie? I guess if you're going to a place like Bathurst, you know it so well. Just get out there and probably do what you know you can do, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's I guess it just comes down to, who's put in the time, and obviously the tough thing with Bathurst is the walls, but
yeah,
it sounds like there isn't a damage model to worry about. So
looks visual
go nuts.
only.
Yeah, exactly.
So push. So when you get to the top of the mountain,
But,
go crazy.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's tried wall riding. That's something I'd do.
Surely you can make up a second going across sort of Silman Park.
Just hold it flat around the wall.
Around the cutting.
Yeah.
You took a pretty high line during practice, I noticed, but not quite that high.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But yeah, so I'm not too sure, how much the walls will affect the guys, but obviously, yeah, no room for error. But yeah, it's just going to be about who's been putting in the hours and got that speed to try and get the win.
How many hours have you put into sim racing at Bathurst?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, would have lost count, but I reckon I'd be at least probably 10,000 hours of sim racing. And just
in general, or
yeah, just in general across different platforms and different games and stuff. So that's probably going right back to when I was when I was about 12.
Yeah.
Up until I was still really into it about 3 or 4 years ago. Obviously been into different games since then, but would easily be at about that 10K mark. So yeah, I know what it's like for these guys to be competitive in any sort of online environment when you've got thousands of competitors. It's just all about obviously those hours and just refining everything, and that's what it comes down to.
All right, well, Bathurst is next. We'll grab a quick break here on the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series, and we'll be back with that third and final race.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engine.
There's surfing, parties, and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And a race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Time to switch our attention to Mount Panorama Bathurst for the final race tonight on the opening round of the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. It's been fantastic to have Richie Stanaway and Hysterics joining me in the studio for this one. Richie, it's a track we all know and love, and for the first time, at least in this E-Series, we can check it out for real with 8 drivers and a compulsory pit stop.
Yeah, it's obviously been quite unique seeing the supercars at Laguna Seca and Spa, but back to more of a natural
sort of habitat, I
natural
guess you could say.
For supercars, yeah, one we all know quite well. And it's a long lap, over 2 minutes, so a lot of corners to put together. Yeah.
Do you try and rest up and down the straights? Were you really big on that?
Yeah. I mean, you can obviously chill out down the straights. It's, I guess the one good thing about this track is at least you do get 2 good opportunities to rest. Without those 2 long straights, it'd be a pretty demanding circuit. So yeah, it's obviously once you get into this, the track sort of definitely feels like it's in 2 different parts. You've got the that bottom end down by the pit lane with those 2 90-degree corners, turn 1 in the last corner, and obviously those 2 long straights that link up the rest of the track. But once you get into turn 2 and start to move up the mountain here, it really starts to feel like a very different circuit. It's very much like a street circuit, obviously, whereas the bottom end of the circuit feels a lot more like that permanent circuit feel. So, yeah, very demanding circuit over the top here. Got to obviously use all the road, but obviously you've got the walls right there, and you know, whenever you bring high corner speeds into cornering, the margin for error gets smaller and smaller. Obviously, in slower speed corners, you can overslip the tire a lot without much of a penalty, and you can stay on the road. But across the whole top section of that circuit there, it's very easy to make a mistake, and the penalty for that is obviously race or potentially weekend ending. Obviously, it's not. Fortunately for these guys,
but the real deal, it's punishing.
Exactly.
So what do you think? What else do you think you can get away with here for the players? Because, you know, we've talked a lot today about these guys can get away with more things just because, you know, it isn't the real thing. But what cuts time here for you that you can get away with legally? If you're playing?
I mean, luckily we haven't seen people exploiting the
track
the
limits
game too much and doing anything crazy like, you know, wall riding or
going straight through Skyline or anything like that. So that's how they'll line up. Mad Racer 38 has the most points so far tonight. He's had a really good run, Matty Bink. Semper will be starting alongside him. That's Andrew Dyson. Halves has actually done okay here, despite the fact that he's had a slightly off night. He'll be coming out of 3 for this one, and I'd almost put him down as favourite for this race. Quickest qualifier, ultimate age there as well. So usual suspects, the cream rising there, I guess you could say, Hysterics.
I mean, ultimate age has got the same, you know, had the fastest qualifying time out of anyone here, so he's got the same chance. We've seen a lot of Jacob Harvey. He's the person I talk about because he's the first person I kind of met here in the scene. So pretty excited to see how he runs this, and especially to finish this one off after we've just had a massive week last week. Here we go.
Here you go. Watch for Jacob Harvey. He's on the inside of row 2. He is the favourite at this track. But it looks like a pretty clean start for Matt Bink, who leaders up Mountain Straight for the first time. 9 laps, compulsory pit stop in there as well. And the front 4, Richie, are pretty much bump drafting up and under the Petters Bridge.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Do you have to go defensive this early? Okay, shows you just how serious they are about track position.
Yeah. It's always good if you can maintain the lead there up into the second corner, because obviously there's not much of a passing opportunity for the rest of the lap.
It's nose to tail at the cutting. It's Mad Racer 38 leading the night and will be leading the championship if he can win this final race of round 1. Climbing the mountain for the first time of 9 times. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. We're streaming on a whole range of locations tonight, including Facebook Live. So if you're on Facebook Live, hit us up in the comments right now. Let us know what you think of the series. Remember, you can be a part of the Cup action. That starts tomorrow night, the very first Cup tournament. Prizes and cash up for grabs thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Norman, LG, and Boost Mobile. Down the hill then, and towards Forest Elbow for the first time.
This is where I spin out, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not...
For the first time.
Not your best corner.
But I get excited about this part. This is my favourite bit.
Nearly 2 Ks flat out, Conrod Straight, fastest part of any motor racing circuit in Australia.
Richie, I'm going to ask a dumb question of you. Fastest speed you've hit down this straight?
We just get to 300. So
very jealous.
Clean through the kink. And as the track map will show us, nothing in it between the front pack. Mad Racer 38. Clean set of hills on this opening lap.
See how confident people are on this.
Oh, early pit stops.
Yeah.
Wow. So clearly it would seem that Halves 05 not clear or not happy with the track position. So Jacob Harvey taking the early pit stop. Interesting strategy.
Yeah, I wouldn't have picked that.
So he's pulled a surprise. If he can come out of the pits in the first of that lead battle pack, it'll actually be a huge advantage for him. But he can't afford to catch the traffic before they've had their pit stop. Should be okay from there. Superman's had an up and down night. Dropped to the back of the pack in the opening race on lap 1 going through the corkscrew at Laguna Seca, and it's been a bit of an uphill battle ever since.
Still TDI Zulls though. It's unfortunate for him. He hasn't had the best day. 8th in first Laguna Seca. 8th again at Spa. And sitting in 8th position right now at Mount Panorama. In front of him though, it's going to be Jacob Harvey, the person we're looking towards for this race. Adrian Yalpi, it's ultimate age 05, the young man, I can't call him young, he's older than me, from eastern suburbs. The fastest lap time here at Mount Panorama. Just a couple of seconds short of the record. We were talking a little bit about that before, Chad.
Yeah, 2:05.0 his qualifying time. 2:03.8 is the quickest we've seen a supercar go for real around the mountain. We did see low 2:06s in the Bathurst 1000 this year.
What's your personal record there, Richie?
I think I've done a 5.4, I think. Not as quick as I'd have liked, but...
So 5.4 would have left you 5th on the leaderboard here. Only you did it for real, so props for that. Tucked in down Conrod Straight.
Getting a bit dark as well, we just realised.
Yeah.
Well, that is east out that direction. So I was thinking the same thing. It looked like a sunset, but it should be the opposite at that time of the day.
Is it wet weather? That is the hope.
Richie's time to shine. It's going to rain.
Yeah.
Fight for the leaders on. Mad Racer 38. Nothing in it at the front. And Semper is lurking here. Front 3 or 4 looking pretty close. And remember, leading the drivers who've already had their pit stop, Jacob Harvey. And I've got a feeling he might just pop out ahead of all of them if they go to battle here. If these two square off going up towards the mountain here, Harvey will lead this race later on.
Sitting at 7th at the moment, though, so you have to keep an eye on him. Only lap 3, 6 more to go.
Oh, a big slide coming out of Griffin's Bend for Semper, and that might just cost him a couple tenths. Got caught up on the curb, and the back end really stood out.
Drop back a little bit there. Might give way to Ultimate Age to take over. Another driver we're talking about there. Sits hand in hand with Jacob Harvey. It's Adrian Yalpi as they come back up the mountain.
Semper's car is starting to look a bit twitchy. He knows he's under pressure. I just wonder if maybe Adrian Yalpi should have pitted on that last lap, because he's just going to catch these guys now and he might lose a bit of time. But having said that, Andrew Dyson is really quick across the top. Look how much ground he's managed to gain going just through Skyline. And then under brakes up at the elbow. So he's pulled back about half a second there. Oh, got the wall though at the exit, and then gets the rev limiter as well. So it's been a messy run.
How close Ultimate Age, actually not that far behind him, so right on his tail.
Just seems to be getting the limiter with his shifts a little bit, doesn't he, Richie?
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is.
So any chance of a slipstream, he's lost it. Look how close Yalpi is now. Tucked right in between all three of them. Surely one of these three has to pit this lap. Ooh. Well, it's not one of the first two. The question will be, did Ultimate Age 05 go into the pits then? Because 25 seconds down the road, behind this lead battle pack, is Jacob Harvey. Remember, he was the first to pit.
I think we saw Adrian Yalpi. I think he just went in the pit.
Yes, so he did. So watch this. The race is on between him and his good friend, Jacob Harvey. Harvey will be pretty much coming out of the last corner now. He'll be on the front straight, and if he's had a clean few outlaps, he's about to swing around the outside of his good buddy from Sydney.
Now, who hasn't pitted yet? Just the front of the pack?
Just those front few guys, and I think Yalpi's got away with it here. Must be close behind him. 1.3 seconds, so a bit of a distance. Not as clean after the pit stop as Jacob Harvey would have wanted, because he was sitting in traffic then. He should have absolutely gapped him.
But everything will change when the front of the pack goes into that pit stop. Lap 4 of 9. The last race here. Last race of the day.
It's looking clean going through the cutting. Boost Mobile replay across the top.
Oof.
And this is Harvey. This would be maybe where he lost a bit of time. Just skimmed the wall. So it might have cost him a little bit.
High expectations coming into this race, especially with the way he's qualified before, especially since he's been around. Probably the longest out of any of these drivers.
Okay, so we're working lap 4 at Bathurst. This is the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series.
Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
Who doesn't love the Gold Coast, Australia's party capital? I love it there.
The Vodafone Gold Coast 600.
There's people everywhere. The fans are louder than the engines.
There's surfing, parties, and amazing concerts.
The whole gang's going to be in town.
And a race, Chaz. You remember that, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that. Cheers, mate.
Chaz Boston, winner.
Be there for the Vodafone Gold Coast 600, October 19 to 21. Concerts included with your race day ticket. Book now at Ticketek and get your heart racing.
Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, your home of the great gaming deals. We have the best brands at the best prices, like Predator, Republic of Gamers, Omen, MSI. Hurry in for Predator desktops from only $26.98, Predator laptops from only $24.96, ROG laptops from only $22.96, and MSI laptops from only $18.97. Game like the pros, now at Harvey Norman, in store and online.
Go! Boost Mobile. Data hungry? Get up to 30 gigs with every recharge, plus unlimited calls and texts. Now with data rollover, all on Australia's biggest mobile network. Boost Mobile.
There's been more pit stop action at Bathurst, and there's been a little bit of a shuffle up now as a result. We're still waiting on one more driver to pit. They're going across the top right now. That's Semper, your new race leader.
But boy, is that a lead.
Yep. It's got a giant gap. But the problem is, Hysterics, he still needs to come down pit lane, and that could be the telling moment.
It'll be up to Mad Racer then. Ultimate Age has climbed his way back up, and finally, Jacob Harvey up in that 4th position there. Unfortunate, I think it is still our good friend.
Oh, small mistake.
Number 8.
For Mad Racer, going across the top, and he knows he's under pressure now.
He's hit it again.
Ultimate Age 05 along for the ride. And then Har 05, who's dropped about 3 or 4 car lengths further back, trying to reel them in. This will be the fight for the lead once this last pit stop's been taken. Can Semper get out and ahead of these guys in the pit stop window?
Onto the straight once again. This time, Zul climbed up into the 7th position at Superman in 8th. Both those races haven't had a good day so far.
They're doing it tough, aren't they?
96 as well in that 6th position. A good second race here, but again, still seem to be focusing on Semper. It seems to be his day. It looks like a comfortable lead still there, but again, we'll have to wait till he pits. Mad Racer in 2nd there, climbing up.
Don't think Semper's pitted yet. Doesn't look to be in pit lane just yet, so he's
Can't do it
going
on the
around
last
again.
lap.
He's got a few laps to go, so he's playing it cool at the moment. When does he make that pit stop, Richie? Put your race engineer cap on for a moment. When would you bring him in?
Yeah, I mean, it's it'd be good to see how long the stop is and obviously what his lead is. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think it matters too much. As long as he's been obviously quick enough out front there, then he should be fine. But yeah,
he's having a crack.
Fine.
He's curb to curb and wall to wall through Reed Park. He's getting the great, so he's putting absolutely everything on the line here. Wow. If this is an in-lap, it's a good one. Yeah, hard to see why these guys were picked as the top 8 around the country, because that was a pretty good run from Reed Park all the way down through Skyline. Bringing up the data so you can follow it along. You'd be pretty happy with that run across the top in any race, I think, Rich.
absolutely, yeah.
That was about as clean as it gets. But is it enough? 22 seconds, that gap has stayed steady. 22.2, so it's come down to 10th. Is it enough? Will he pit this time? There'll be 3 laps to go next time by.
It's a pretty good lap. Did you just do it here?
Is that gap big enough? Has he got a number in his head which he thinks it needs to be at? That's the only reason why you'd stay out. And
he's doing it.
He pits. Awkward pit entrance as well, Richie.
Yeah, very, very easy to make a mistake there.
We saw that happen in the real deal last week. Now the action's on here. You're following the man who sits in 2nd.
He had a 22-second lead. I'm not sure if that's enough.
We're about to find out. He's already approaching the pit entrance. And now to the last corner. He might get away with this. It's a long, long, long way to the pit exit. It's going to be pretty close at the rejoin.
I think Mad Racers.
Yeah, he's got it quite comfortably there.
Swing around the outside. Here comes the re-entry, and he's got him.
Just shy.
Mad Racer takes the lead back, and he'll actually drop to third.
He's going to lose quite a lot of distance there as well. So Mad Racer in the lead. Ultimate Age 05 coming in second. And Jacob Harvey just coming in behind. A little bit shy there, I think, as well. Actually, he's crept his way up onto Semper. Race 7 of 9. Mad Racer's had a pretty good day.
Yeah, originally from Newbury, which is out near Moe, which is Jason Bright country if you're a supercar fan. Sort of country Victoria, big Erebus fan. So he would have been happy over the last couple of years with the speed that they've shown up at Bathurst. He won that trip to go to the Bathurst 1000 as part of the championship that ran last year, but he'd actually been there pretty much every year since 2007.
So we're just facilitating it.
So at least it was a free trip to Bathurst. And behind him, we've got this awesome battle now for second, and a great battle also for fourth. So as we predicted, the Bathurst race is turning it on.
Ultimate Age just hit the side there as well.
He whacked the wall, didn't he? This is the fight for fourth. Hasn't quite been the race that Jacob Harvey was wanting. Hysterics wouldn't have picked him today to have gone 0 from 3.
No, absolutely not. I think Jacob Harvey I would have picked to be first or second, holding that in almost every race, but today.
But he'll still take home a big bank of points for the first round, so he's not out of it yet.
And remember, we do come back to Mount Panorama by the end as well, so by that time, Jacob Harvey, with that consistency we're talking about, maybe we ought to make something change.
Semper just missed the apex and he'll be vulnerable here. He needs to cover. Jacob Harvey goes to the outside. He needs to be careful about how much room he leaves at the exit. That's brave.
Very brave.
Got a bit of a wry smile out of Richie for that one, trying to send it around the outside.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been move of the day if he'd pulled it off.
Absolutely.
Props for trying. He's getting desperate. That is for the last spot on the podium. Race 3.
See if he can catch up here. Mad Racer, Ultimate Age, still far forward. Not sure how far forward at this point, but that battle for first and second seems to still be going on. If Mad Racer takes this one out, he's looking pretty good after today. Might actually be able to hold that first position.
So it was some pretty tight racing all day long, but Richie, talk us through this move.
Yeah, he's obviously covering the inside there, and R05's just tried to go on the outside and tried turning in, but just unfortunately come unstuck. But very ambitious, and unfortunately didn't pay off.
Ambitious is a good word for it.
Aggressive and ambitious. We don't mind that. Have a crack. Good to see.
Actually, I haven't seen that much of an aggressive day. I think we've seen pretty tame racing
They've
here.
been pretty well behaved.
Yeah.
For online racing. If anyone's had a crack at just a general lobby before, you could see sort of how crazy it can get out there.
Thought we'd see a bit more conflict, but yeah, it's been pretty tame.
Nothing in it between the leaders. Actually, if anything, he's closed across the top, so maybe a small mistake for the race leader.
Huge gap between second and third, though.
How does he play this? Here comes Adrian Yalpi, our quickest qualifier. He's in the tow. He covers him through the chase. Respect shown under brakes. Could have given him a nudge, but pulled it up. Goes to show you how used to running one another these two are. These two do compete in the league together. Have been racing Xbox against one another for a few years now on multiple different games on the Forza platform. Dying stages, and this has been good. Last lap. It's been the pick of the races so far tonight. Small mistake through turn 1 that time for Yalpi. Ruined his exit. Climbing the mountain for the last time tonight. 4/10 separating first from second. 3 seconds separating second from third. Tight between the leaders, and from here he may have to wait until he gets to the chase.
This was a qualifying map. This is how these guys got here as well. Jacob Harvey, Adrian Yalpi in that top 4 position. Adrian Yalpi in second right now. He's Ultimate Age 05 trying to take over the first, getting aggressive as they go up this mountain. But it is going to be a bit of push up there. He's got one last chance as he climbs this mountain.
Well, we've seen some pretty aggressive stuff tonight, Richie. Is there any way you can get the move done before the chase?
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard to overtake here, but maybe down into the elbows, close enough.
Okay. We did see a move there for the 2014 race,
but
albeit fuel affected.
Yep, if not, then I guess the chase.
They're close down through Skyline. The pressure is on. Last time to the elbow.
Oh, little
It's
bump
right
there.
on him.
Did he get a good enough exit?
Oh.
Really good exit for the leader.
That's the distance he wants. Mad Race is going to take off.
And that could have been his chance.
Yeah, I think he's just lost it there. Gave him a little bump on the entry, and it actually cost him the run, so...
Last time down Conrad and through the chase. He's not close enough. Can he close up under brakes? Maybe the last corner. Good run through the chase for Matty Bink. And he has withheld some pretty serious pressure on the last lap. Last corner, last chance for Ultimate Age 05. He's not close enough. And we'll give this one to Mad Racer 38. Matt Bink gets on the board at Bathurst. Big win under heavy fire and takes the third race of round one. Nice drive. 19 minutes, 32 seconds. And how about the fight for third as well? There you go. Bathurst complete, and I think that was worth the wait. Good race on the last lap, Rich.
Yeah, it would have been some sweaty palms on the last lap there, I'd say.
But that was pretty good, actually. And
Yep.
to see the way it worked out through the pit stop window, from that point onwards, he had the lead of the race. Yelpy managed to close, but just couldn't get the job done.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty intense race. I was not expecting Matthew Bink to come out today the way he did. I mean, consistent races all across the board, great placement on pretty much every single race, and that first and final, you know, that's a great way to finish off the day.
At the Harvey Norman Supercars Challenge at Bathurst last year, he finished 6th.
Yeah.
So just to give you a bit of background knowledge, coming into tonight, he was our 10th quickest qualifier, and then in the last race of the night, he picks up the race win. Did it with a 2:06.9 as his best lap. And look at that, the guys who finished second and third, Rich, actually had quicker laps than him. If anything, he was about the 5th or 6th quickest lap, so it just shows track position.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position and maybe a little more consistent.
Good news down the bottom as well. John O'Barra is getting some points on the board there and finishing 7th, so good result for the Tasmanian, getting himself up the order a little bit. Good to see a couple new guys in XE Mr. Bucket and also Superman. They're new to our league. We haven't seen them pop up before, so really good to see a couple of different names pop up towards the front. Our top 8 who have made this championship, we'll see them 6 times. That's the first of 6 rounds for the 2018 Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. And very, very competitive. We saw different guys at the front of the field. And we definitely saw different strengths as well, Richie, I feel. We're always going to see that at Bathurst because those guys have done thousands and thousands, literally thousands of laps there. But I think it bodes well for when we go to Europe and some of the American tracks that it might be some different results.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously there's a week now before the second round. So I think now that the series has actually kicked off today, then everyone will be pretty keen to head away for the next 7 days and get pretty stuck into warming up for that second round.
They've got a week to practice. Here is how he did it. Took the lead down at the first corner, but it wasn't that simple. Semper set off behind him in second. He did lead a large chunk of this race. They're all very much defensive going up towards the first corner. Great start though, and no one really with that short run, it's only about 200 metres to the first corner, had a chance to get any moves made. 9 laps in total. Checking the action out up through turn 2. We did see 1 or 2 guys have a little slide there, including Semper. And then over the top, that was the little rub on the wall that might have just upset his rhythm. I really thought that Jacob Harvey would be pushing the lead of the race after the pit stops. This was aggressive, didn't quite pay off. Little rub. Tried to go around the outside at turn 1, didn't quite pay off. The fight for the lead all the way to the last lap. Tried a little bit of a bump and run maybe, and then got the inside wall. Sort of psyched himself out, Richie.
Yeah, maybe he just got a little concerned that he was going to bump him too hard or whatnot, and it just put him off getting that run out, which obviously cost him a shot at going for the win there down into the chase.
He would have spent that entire lap thinking about getting a good run out of that corner and trying to have a run down Conrad as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And the championship picture now looks like this, and that is a really strong start for Matt Bink.
Oh, yeah.
The 22-year-old has raced away to a 14-point advantage over Semper, Ultimate Age 05. And the man who came in as the favourite, with all the work to do, Hysterics.
All down at fourth. Jacob Harvey, 34 points, and he's in the middle of the pack, but we expected him at the top. We expected him to be where, I guess, Mad Racer was. At this point, it's only week 1, but that is the start you want, especially for Mad Racer, who came in as essentially an underdog.
Yeah, that is a massive, massive result. Matty Bink, who competes with these guys regularly, clearly finding some speed and getting his way up the order nice and early. And good to see down the bottom of the order as well, John O'Barrow is picking up some points. He's got a week to practice until we go over to the European leg. Some famous tracks from Europe. How do we think supercar action will go next week, Richie, when we tackle the European circuits? Yeah,
obviously it's going to be a lot of a different dynamic, and yeah, the guys will be practicing pretty hard on getting warmed up for those races.
A reminder, tomorrow night we also have our very first Cup event. So you've still got time to get out there and practice some laps before the first Cup race tomorrow night.
It's a good opportunity. If you do not take it, if you want to get into Forza Motorsport, this is exactly the way you do it. It is an opportunity to get into the big leagues, to one day join these guys. And I guarantee if there was an opportunity like this, people like Jacob Harvey would take it. People like Mad Racer would take it because it's just too good to pass up. Yeah, so enter the Cup competition tomorrow night. It's your chance to enter in for some pretty big cash and prizes as well. It's Forza Motorsport 7 on Xbox. So go out, pick up a kit, head out to Harvey Norman and get yourself kitted out because you could be entering that tomorrow night. There's some pretty cool prizes up for grabs, but just more importantly, get out there and do some laps at some of your favourite tracks and test out Forza Motorsport 7 for real. Really loved all the feedback that we got throughout the different live streams. Richie, your thoughts? We've now seen it, the E-Series. I think it's got some legs. Yeah, absolutely. It's obviously early days, but it's great to get the series kicked off and looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. I'm looking forward to next week as well, those European tracks. Yeah, strong drivers, and we'll see how they go because today kind of threw up in the air. You know, we went on these new tracks. When we walked away from Mount Panorama, there was some bit of nerves, I'd say. So next week it's going to be a little bit different, but they have a week to prep. Excellent. So really looking forward to next week. Thanks for joining us on the live streams wherever you're watching. There was plenty of different ways to watch. Really looking forward to next week. This has been the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. We'll see you for the European leg round 2 next week. All right, it looks like we're good to go with the very first Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. And mentioned earlier, it's a race, but it's all about time trialing at the beginning. So that's why Ghost Mode switched on. This will set the grid for the opening race tonight, which again is at Laguna Seca. I'm almost nervous, but we're off and running. And it is now finally here, the Boost Mobile Supercars E-Series. We've got the live stream happening here tonight, and we're also following on the Facebook live stream on the Supercars page as well. So let us know who you're cheering for. Let us know what the effects later for tyre life. So there's almost no risk going on in the lane. Now you wanted to talk about penalties. Does that count?
I don't even think it was for Mad Racer, Matty Bink. And a mistake from Stempa. Haven't seen too much of that. It'll cost him.
It's blown into another one there as well. So
lost a bit of distance there after that skid out between third and fourth.
This is what happened. Look further up the road. Looked like he dropped the left rear off.
Yeah, looks like he just got the left side of the car on the dirt before it is in a GT or a touring car. So
the good news is,
yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys.
Right, we're off and running. We're about to get 30-year-old from Wallen and Victoria is going to get the job done, and he's going to celebrate as well on his way to the checkered flag. Job done. Congratulations, Semper. Race winner. Makes up for the mistake that he made at Laguna.
Especially to finish this one off after we've just had a massive week last week. Here we go.
Here you go. Watch for Jacob Harvey. He's on the inside of row 2. He is the favourite at this track. But it looks like a pretty clean start. It's been a messy run.
Very close alternate age. Actually not that far off.
Jacob Harvey goes to the outside. Be careful about how much room he leaves at the exit. That's brave.
Very brave.
Last time to the elbow.
Oh, little bump
right
there.
On him.
Did he get a good enough exit? Really good exit for the leader. And he has withheld some pretty serious pressure on the last lap. Last corner, last chance for Ultimate H05. He's not close enough. And we'll give this one to Mad Racer 38. Matt Bink gets on the board at Bathurst. Big win under heavy fire.